And we are live once again. Okay. And here we are once again. This is our Monday review stream. So tonight I am joined by the lovely Colin Kaiser, fresh off his top 4 at the CCS 25K. And tonight we are going to be discussing the I don't know how to pronounce this, the Dalian I'm just not going to pretend to like I know what I'm talking about here. However,
this is where we got to go to Google.
Dalian.
Get Google to tell
Dalian.
us.
Yeah, Dalian regional. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about some of the rules changes, which Riot has conveniently not formatted into an article yet. So I have to pull up tweets. So that's cool.
Oh, just the general.
Yes, the general updates. So,
I see.
I guess before we get started, though, let's take a look at the breakdown here. Colin, I'll give you some time now if you have anything you want to talk about your CCS experience this weekend. Anything?
I mean, what's there to say at this point? You know, I go to an event and I top for it. Like, this is just classic. You know, at this point, I think we've all come to expect such things from me, right? As I talk my shit.
No, actually, I expect to win. I expect you to win. Top 4's not good enough, bud.
Well, I mean, I top forward the PPG and top forward this one now, so this is maybe I am falling off.
Yeah,
you're right. I'm washed.
I was gonna say we went from the GOAT to I'm expected to top 4. Damn, that's crazy. That's
next is gonna be top 8ing.
That's some Aaron Rodgers mentality there. That's crazy.
Yeah. I suppose so.
I
had a pretty good run. Fortunately, it was just a drive for me, so easy to get over there. I'm trying to pull up my pairings. Here we go, so I can search and remember everything that I played.
Damn, you can't just recall that off the top of your head. That's crazy.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do not have that specific superpower like you. Round 1, I ended up playing the Kaiser. We actually had like a pretty interesting metagame split, which I don't know if it's an NA specific thing, but we were, I know you probably covered it on the stream, but we were like 30% Kaiser, 30% Annie, 15% E as the standout decks, and then a couple of other random things mattered in. There was randomly a Yasuo player that I think made it all the way to top 8. So yeah, not super diverse for the last one, but I think people just kind of played their favorite deck and went with it. So round 1 was Kaiser. I ended up crushing that. Round 2 was Victor. And that's like probably my easiest matchup of the decks that we actually see. Round 3 ended up being into another Kaiser. That was an Annie actually. That was one of our friends. And I made like one slight mistake that costed me a game where I like played into a ride the wind that I should have sent units in like a different order to play around. But it didn't cost me the match, so that worked out. Round 4 was the first round that I actually ended up losing. I got 2-0'd by Kaiser, where I just drew like the most unplayable hands. That match was terrible. Round 5 after that was into another Victor player. And then round 6 was into Dana Fisher, actually, the featured player on Annie for that event. So I was able to win that match. And then the last round ended up being on camera, so we all saw me get swiftly 2-0'd by a MF Aurora player. That was not my favorite, but what can I say? It was how the cards were dealt to me that day. But fortunately, I had pretty good breakers, losing my first round in 4 and 7 because they decided to swap to OMW instead of GW, which is something we'll get into as we get into the changes to the tournament rules. My opponent match win percentage was very high because I played against strong players who were all doing particularly well. So at the end of day one, it was 7 rounds day one and then 1 round of Swiss on day two. I ended up I was in 16th place, actually, even though I was X2, 5-2 going into day two. So I knew that I was a lock if I just won the next round. My breakers would certainly hold. And then going into the next day, I actually played against a good friend of mine, Rishi, who I believe won the 10K at Atlanta, right?
Yes, Rishi won the 10K for PPG Atlanta. Yep. Or not PPG, sorry, SCG Atlanta.
Yeah, he was on Annie. The first player I've ever 3-0'd in a tournament, which was quite nice. We played a practice game beforehand, just as like a warm-up thing. And let me sit in my camera real quick. Yeah, we just played like a warm-up thing just to get the hands flowing, and make sure your mental's in the good spot going into the first round, because it's like the most important round. Obviously, everyone's on a winning end. And I ended up beating him in that practice game, and then we went into the actual tournament, and obviously I joked. I was like, oh, I already beat you one game, so that one already counted, right? And he was like, no, obviously not. Of course not. I would never expect that to be the case. So, yeah, then we actually played, and then I just 2-0'd him very swiftly. He had game one was like kind of close. There was some back and forth, but I had the dice, and I was just ahead on points all game, and Annie does not play well when she's behind on points. And game two, he just like completely bricked out. So, yeah, I got to swiftly 3-0 him and get into top cut, which was quite nice. Then top 16 was against a Kaiser player who just game one had like a really bad opener. Started Arena's greatest and just didn't do anything for the first couple turns. So I just like developed a board. I think they were trying to void seeker me on turn 2 because I just didn't play their Kaiser. And I just obviously didn't send my unit in because I expected that. So I was able to take over the game there, and then game 2 ended up being a lot more back and forth, but I had like a sabotage to see exactly what was in their hand. And unlike my match that I ended up losing in round 7, after I sabotaged my opponent, they didn't draw the absolute nuts. So, that was another thing that ended up happening to the Kaiser that I played against. It was kind of the day of sabo bugs for everyone. Even Anton, I think, said that he saboed somebody and then immediately ripped something off the top. I think it might have been an Aurora Mirror or something like that in Swiss. And had that happen to him, I like saboed a guy, and I needed him to specifically not see Darius Cleave or Darius Hextech, and then he saw Darius Hextech, and it just like completely blew me out of the water. So after saboing, and I ran over his 2-drop that draws a card. And then, yeah, he just drew the nuts perfect, and then followed that up by drawing another Hextech that ended up blowing me out immediately after that. So it was kind of the day of sabo bugs, unfortunately, for the home team. So, yeah, top 8 was a Kaiser that I 2-0'd. Then we got into top 8. We just chose to split cash there. I'm not the type of person that's going to play with my money or play with my food, so to speak. I wanted to take the guaranteed cash out. So we just decided to chop it up there, but play for the trophy.
Aren't you Mr. No Splits? If I recall, you're Mr. No Splits, if I remember correctly.
The only event that I ever no splitted was the PPG, and it never actually ended up mattering. The Charlies that ended up winning, we chopped the finals, but it wasn't in my volition. There was somebody else who was playing throughout it, or wanted to play for all the glory throughout it. Then, the PPG, I did end up deciding to play just because I got a little bit too cocky, and then realized that my top 4 opponent had copied my exact deck list and actually played it for Houston and had like hundreds of games on it. So it was rough. And then that was a really good match we had. He just so happened to have the right things that I did not have the counter for. So yeah, and then for this one, I was just like, I'll split it up. It's not that big of a deal. So we did that. I won my top 8 match against a nice Yi player who said he was local. So we chatted a bunch. He was very nice. And just kind of playing in his locals. It just so happened to a local that made him a bunch of money. And then my top 4 that I ended up losing was also against another mid-range Yi. So back-to-back mid-range Yi. And yeah, he ended up smoking me. We went to game 3, but game 1 was where it really ended up mattering because that was kind of the game I was needing to win in order to get ahead and have the deciding game with me on the play. And he started like 2-drop into Wielder of Water and then in his hand he had like triple defy, double charm, a bunch of buff spells, all this sorts of stuff that just like completely ended up blowing me out. Ended up being to a point where it was at 7 points by the time that I stabilized with 4 runes in play because he had played double charm, triple defy. There was something else that he ended up paying power for. I think it might have been a Clockwork Keeper or something like that. So he was just on like no runes the entire game because he just had all these powerful spells that were keeping me down. I eventually stabilized, got to the final turn of the game, and he was on 0 cards as well this whole time and just kind of ripping him off the top. And then once it got to the point where I stabilized, he drew a White Flame, which was like obviously one of the cards that I was really looking to fade. Ended up trading for 1/2 of my board while my units were stuck in a Vile Mausoleum. And then the White Flame stuck around. I built up a board. He sent the White Flame in, and I challenged to kill it with my like 2 units so that I would have exactly enough to hold for lethal if he didn't have a haster. And then he just had a tasty to get into the point, and I lost. So it was a very unfortunate sequence that the guy ended up having to win that game. Game 2 was the least close game. I think I played the entire tournament. He didn't score a single point. So that was like a very, very drastic difference. And then game 3 was a really close one where like into the Yi mid-range deck, you just kind of have to choose a point where you decide to try and start holding. And if they break you, you lose. And if they don't break you, you win. And he had exactly enough, like literally by 1 might to break me. I like calculated for like White Flame plus a Defy or a On Guard or something like that. And instead he had like Sabotage into Discipline, into Charm, into Primal Strength, into something else. So it was just like a combination of like 4 or 5 cards that just completely blew me out. And yeah, so ended up losing that one. And had my dreams crushed of winning the back-to-back Charlie's event. But yeah.
Sad ending.
Yeah. Obviously, we're going to set 2 now, so my list hasn't really changed since the PPG at all. I don't think I really swapped things up at all. So, yeah. But if there are any more set 1 events that y'all are going to, that set list has done me a solid. I think at some point I'm gonna have to like save all the cards and get them framed or something like that. I've still got the deck right here, so maybe I'll find some way to present it properly as a deck that's done quite good for me so far.
So moving on, we're going to talk about the Dalian Regional, Dalian, however you pronounce it. So this week, the League of Draven did not prevail. Instead, we're back to Kaiser best deck. I know. Better the devil you do know, I guess, right? So
to a degree, we'll get into that.
So we had a little bit more diverse top cut, but we'll go over like our total entries here first. So as you guys can see, we had a lot less Draven. It's been about a 5% drop off each week. So it was 34, I think, the first week, or 35 the first week, 29 last week, 25% this week. Draven's still over converting though. in every instance. We had a lot more Aurelia, 10%. Actually, maybe not as much as last week, but we have 10%, a lot more Fiora, that's for sure. Kaiser, Ezreal. Yeah, a lot of interesting ones. This was the craziest one, and I have a theory about this. So, Garen. There are 16 Garens in this event. It was in top 10 most decks played, and the reason I think for this was because not a single Garen entered last week. There was one, and I guess they entered late, is what I was told. But my theory here is that because you can win metal cards at these events, everybody saw that not a single Garen entered, so there was an overcorrection where these 16 people said, well, I'll just enter with the Garen and get my free Garen metal card, and then boom. I will say this, that I think some people have said, like, oh, well, the meta is not too bad because the metal cards do something to correct the meta, but that is not indicative of the health of the game state. That is just like people have been incentivized, like you're bribing people to play bad decks. That doesn't mean the meta game is more healthy. It's just people are being pulled in different directions, which I think is nice to diversify your tournaments, but I don't want anybody to look at this data and go, oh, it's fine because all these players played all these different decks and whatnot. So,
yeah, I see Philip saying your set list was balling, lost like 3 2K finals with the blaming variance. Yeah, the deck definitely has some variance, and like the reason why we didn't rate it as highly as some of the other decks, despite it having a good matchup into pretty much the entire field, is just that it does have a lot of variance. So you don't draw your buffs and your units on time, as well as enough interaction spells, then you're gonna lose with it. So, yeah, just the unfortunate nature of it.
God, I hope there's 7 Rek'Sai in the tournament I play in. My God, it's just 7 Rek'Sai. 2 Lee Sin's crazy. Like if I'm the Lee Sin player, I'd find the other Lee Sin player, be like, hey man, you want to go out for a cigarette real quick and just bam 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 bam. That's my Lee Sin now. Like
yeah.
That's crazy. Like
exactly.
That two Lee Sin is like, I'd be watching my back all day. Like, where's the other guy? Is he coming to get me? Like, that's insane. Yeah. Like, yeah, someone just got blessed a free metal card. Just like straight coin flip. Like, yeah, I might even find the guy and be like, yo, let's just flip a coin. Like, let's go.
Yeah, there was just like, yeah, I think the reason why we're seeing Draven not performing particularly well is as we get into these later regionals, people are realizing that there's quite literally no reason to play Draven in these events, right? Once you've gotten your invite, you have no reason to keep going anymore, right? You just you can just play like a for fun metal leader and actually get something that has some value, as opposed to if you play Draven, then you literally have to win the entire event in order to get your best of metal card. With the exception of this one, because all the good players had kind of realized that and dropped off with Draven. So our assumption here, at least, is the reason for it is, as for why Draven didn't win this and why it's had such a stark drop off, is specifically that, is just that people are realizing that you can play something else and actually have a chance to win something without even having to win the entire tournament, which is quite nice. So yep. I think all of the good players realized that, and no good Dravens were there, so it did not win, which unfortunately, in our opinion, is probably going to be their excuse of like, oh, what a diverse metagame that we had in the top 8 of this specific event. Clearly our format is solved, and people have figured out how to beat the tier 0 deck, when it clearly is not the case. I'm sure this weekend, with it being a larger, this is like the larger event. I don't know if it has cash prizing or anything like that.
I believe they all have cash. This one just says more cash, maybe. But this is 2,046 people, maybe. Yeah. So
yes,
if we look at top cut, there's like a diverse palette at the bottom. Like there was 5 set that entered, and 1 actually made top, which is crazy.
Yeah.
We saw this Jax deck that was really cool to see on stream. Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I heard that it got relatively far, especially after Free Buke. Hashtag Free Buke.
Yeah, hashtag Free Buke.
What's up, Izo? Good to see you.
That guy holding up the Free Buke in his photo is just like, that's the most heinous, evil, like mastermind shit ever. Like I almost kind of fuck with that, like just playing into the like. that's like if Peter Chang held up Future Fusion after he won his first YCS. Like that shit was like, or like Alex Bertuccini held up like Explorer. Like that shit's wild. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
So that
It's like
was
this card's pretty good when it costs
whoa.
nothing. Turns out.
That's like
Yeah.
the level of like evil mastermind, like evil bad guy I aspire to be.
Yeah.
So that
As
was
much as I would
pretty-
love to tell the people that the format is solved, no. So one tournament result does not really change that much in our minds, unless I had known that everyone had somehow all the best players were on Draven on this event, but clearly that's just not the case.
Yeah, and the only one of these decks I really want to go over. I'll pull up some footage here of one of these decks, but the only one I really, really want to talk about is actually the Jax deck, because it is something a little bit different. Most of these decks are kind of cookie cutter, run of the mill, but I will pull up a little bit of footage of this Jax deck at one point. But we'll get to that when we come to it. So you can see the breakdown here. A Lux deck made top, crazy times we're living in.
Yeah.
But it's top 64, so not like it's not unreasonable for that to happen. So
Yeah.
So moving back here, so I like that this guy's deck's name was Best of 3. Like he probably had his deck list creator, and he was like, oh, one of these is Best of 3, and one of these is Best of 1. So it's funny. It's just kind of funny to me. So
what's your guys' opinion on Miracle Draven versus Axe Draven? They both have merit. I know I cover it a lot in my guide since we covered both variations of Draven in it, but essentially my take is play whichever variation you like more. So Paul says, I don't think Sever was cookie cutter. Yeah, we could show Randy's list if you want. I haven't actually seen it. Randy ended up flying over to China, who's a good friend of ours, and did particularly well with Sever, despite it being a bad deck, which is always nice to see.
I have no idea why, but my Twitch is all in German. This is insane.
Does it matter?
No, it doesn't, I guess. But yeah. Interesting. Okay. Anyways, on that note, let's look at the deck list.
Yeah.
So, oh boy, it's fucking Kaiser, and it's actually very similar to the highest placing Kaiser we saw at the last event, which actually lost in top 64. So this is pretty interesting.
We think that Classic Draven is slightly better in the mirror, but it's by a very small margin. Most of our playtesting has been whoever wins the die roll wins anyways, so that's the unfortunate nature of it. And we don't really know what the expected field is, but Draven beats everything anyways, so I think the Miracle Draven has a little bit more explosive turns and blowouts, but it also is the classic Draven never stumbles. It's just so consistent because you draw a card every combat win that starts in play. Your chosen champion that starts in play, and that's your best turn 2 play every single time. So it's just a little bit more consistent for standard Draven. So that's usually what I recommend if you don't care.
So we've got the Kaiser list here, and like I said, kind of the same. We're seeing a lot more spell heavy, a lot less. There's no Dariuses, there's not extra Kaisas. We've kind of just cut out all the mid, and we still got the Thousand Tail Watcher, but we've cut the Dariuses and Kaisas, so a lot less mid game in favor of a lot more spells. Which this makes sense to me. Is Draven is kind of you can kind of run Draven out of units, even the Miracle version, because of cards like Singularity and Caffeine Rain. You just kind of hammer away at their units, and eventually they do kind of just stumble. Classic Draven, I think, suffers even more from this issue, where sometimes their hands just stumble. Obviously, the most annoying card is going to be the Ferris Forerunner against the strategy, just leaving behind 2 guys. But we've seen a lot of them not maining Ferris Forerunner, so in game 1, the Kaiser probably looks pretty good. Just less progress days. The last one we saw had 3 progress days and 3 time warps, so we're a little less all in on that strategy. I think I'd like some of these one ofs don't. I think I talked about it yesterday, but some of these one ofs I like, some of them I don't. Like Bellows Breath, I kind of like because it's just like an additional AOE. It's just like a Miser's copy. Progress Day is like a bomb. I don't think you need more than one, to be honest. I think it's a little much. I think one, given how much this deck draws, I think one is typically going to be enough.
Alex is saying that you can play one of a card is the first time.
Yes, but these ones make more sense to me. This Void Seeker is a Miser's copy of extra damage removal. This this thing sort of makes sense. It's just like I need one more piece of removal because I'm already maxed out on all my other removal. Like where this wouldn't make sense to me is if we had like 2 Hextech Ray or like 2 Falling Star, 2 Singularity. I'd be like, no, Void Seeker is worse than all these cards. You should be maxing out these cards before you decide you need another one, or 2 Piercing Light. But you can see this person maxed out all of their removal before going to Void Seeker. So it's just like, I need one more, like the Miser's copy. I need one extra piece of removal. The Cathian Rain being the exception here, but I think a Cathian Rain is so costly that you can't max out, especially with the new rule where it can be stopped by not so fast. So a Cathian Rain is actually the Miser's copy of the Singularity, where he said, I just need one more copy of Singularity. I want 4 copies of Singularity, which is effectively what a Cathian Rain is a lot of the time, especially against like Miracles decks. Now the fucked up one, the one where you're going straight to prison, one Noxus Hopeful. Explain that to me. Mm-hmm. How could you possibly play one Noxus Hopeful? Like, what is the point of this? Why are you playing that? Like, that's not a Miser's copy of anything. Like, this is your hands down one of your best cards in the best units in the deck, especially since you're playing all these cheap 2-cost units. And you've decided that for some fucking reason, your pouty Poros, your plundering Poros, that's better to you than Noxus Hopeful. I know you need a density of turn 1 plays, but this was crazy to me. I think this I don't get. We could have easily cut this smoke screen and had another Noxus Hopeful. Like, we could have cut this Void Seeker and had more Noxus Hopeful. This is crazy in a format where a bunch of the decks are playing cards like Falling Star, or like if you run into another Kaiser, they're playing Falling Star. Like, this one, I'm not with this one, Chief. This is this seems like a very, very questionable choice to me. So I do not defend this decision.
I mean, I'm surprised. Yeah, I think it's definitely a 0 or 3 type of card where you're building around this if that's what you really want to be doing. And we've seen with like the Kaiser best of last time was on 0 Noxious Hopeful, and it was just like all in on all the spells and stuff. So it was definitely more built towards that sort of strategy. But yeah, whenever you're playing like one of a unit, that's just like one of your better mid-range plays that you want to see every turn or every time. It's very, very strange. I saw somebody ask, is there a reason to play Poggers Day over Premonition and Kaiser? Between gold production and later, I feel like Premonition is way better as a late game play. I think specifically the reason why they played Poggers Day here is that they're trying to go like Progress Day into 2-drop, and then kind of set up for like a time warp win is a specific reason why they're going for this. I think if they're a little bit more unit dense, like they did have the triple Noxious Hopeful, I could see Premonition being a little bit better on that side, just because you need to follow it up with playing a bunch of units, in my mind. Whatever your draw spell is, in order to continue applying pressure, use it as like a refill, drop the units you get, and continue going. You don't really want to be playing spells, especially after a Premonition. So, because you're already spinning back 2 power and using your leader ability. So at that point, you're going to be so far behind on energy that's going to be tough to catch up. So
I think too, with a deck like this,
use Poggers in lists like this, but Premonition in like a more classic list where you're like, I want to go like Premonition into Ferris Forerunner, Premonition into Darius, Premonition into Noxious Hopeful, that sort of stuff.
I think too, with a deck like this, there's some lull turns for your opponent because, like we said, the objective is to run them out of units. And there are going to be turns versus even like Classic Raven where they're going to be like, I don't have any good units to play. I'm going to play like a 2-drop from my hand and maybe like a stack deck, or like they're going to do something very non-threatening. And because your deck is so reactive, you don't have a whole lot of things to do in those turns. So when you get like a breathing turn, like where your opponent's just like trying to rebuild, or they're not doing a whole lot, or maybe they play 2 tiny guys and you have Falling Star and Progress Day, like Colin was saying, where you play 2 in Progress Day, you can go, okay, I'm going to Progress Day to draw my 4 Falling Star. Like, and that's still better than Premonition, where you're drawing an extra card for the same amount of power that you would pay with the Premonition. So I think that there's just going to be a lot of turns where your opponent does something very non-threatening, and you don't have a lot of proactive things to do, especially if you don't have units in your hand or you only have 1 unit. So how do you spend your mana efficiently? Progress Day. Get 4 more cards. Yeah. So I think that's another part of it, is just when you have those little turns where your opponent does nothing, you're just like, I'm going to just Progress Day. You play against another control deck too, like you probably get a lot of those turns. And I don't want to be spending power against those decks, so again, just Progress Day. Sure. Like if I'm playing against like Victor Control, I'm going to get a billion turns where I can just do nothing. Might as well play Progress Day and draw 4 on those turns. So,
yeah.
And then
checking in with the chat here. Good to see you, Zuhair, as always. I'm definitely looking forward to Vegas, and hopefully I'll see a lot of people from my past at Vegas showing up. It'll be good hangs. Yeah, no problem, Dindar. Also saw Austin saying, love the review content. Much appreciated. And I did see your question, Philip, about Rat Ezreal. I'll make sure to get to it once we pull up that deck list, which I think will be next. So, yeah.
So we've got the sideboard, very clean, 2-2-2. My favorite distribution of sideboard, just a clean, even 2s across the board. Thermo Beam for decks like Azir, for decks like if you happen to play against an Aurora, for even, hell, I mean, you can probably even side this in versus the Miracles decks, because they are playing all the seals. They do play the Last Rites, so that makes sense to me. And then the 2 in and outs of the format, Bernier and Ferris. I say in and outs because these cards are usually, one is usually in the main, and then the other's in the side, and they like swap some numbers, but both of these cover very different dimensions, with Ferris Forerunner working in the mirror against other control decks very well, and Bernier Thundersong against the majority of the format, things like Aurelia, decks like even standard Draven when you're trying to close, and then Rocket Barrage, again, this one's great because it doubles as both item removal, gear removal. So if you are playing against, it's a little better against Aurora decks, I think, than the Thermo Beam, because it doesn't cost you as much. It's not as expensive. It doesn't cost you the power, and it has the versatility too. It kind of adds to this like spawn camp Kaiser archetype we've been seeing, where we just try to like kill as many things in base. It's great against Draven. They play Draven turn 2. You're just like, okay, turn 2, Rocket Barrage, kill the Draven, because they tap out to do that typically. So a lot of utility with this card. And I guess, yeah, like these we already know. So, I mean, it's more or less kind of similar to the same Kaiser, to the Kaiser we saw last week. I don't think there's much else to say. I do note that this deck we're seeing almost all the good decks playing Obelisk of Power and Reaver's, some combination of Obelisk or Reaver's Row, or both now. So.
Yeah. If you're not on Draven, you should not be playing Reaver's Row. This deck's a little bit of an exception because they're on like Falling Star, Singu, etc. So they're just planning on beating Draven by not letting them have any units in play. So yeah, it makes sense.
And speaking of decks that don't play Reaver's Row or they don't play Reaver's Row or Obelisk of Power, here we have the very much C-tier Ezreal deck. Another run at the Rodent. This is pretty standard from what we've seen from the Rodent builds. I think, yeah, even down to the one of Unchecked Power. This is like pretty much a straight net deck, I think. I'd have to double check the one from last week, but I think this is pretty damn close to a straight net deck. Colin, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't know.
As far as I can tell, this is pretty close to the same list. I don't remember seeing the scrap heaps. Maybe those are kind of weird.
Yeah, we don't have
The
Zon.
one time warp
Yeah,
definitely wasn't.
we don't have Zon Warrens,
Wasn't a
but
part.
a lot of decks are playing Zon Warrens right now. So the strategy could be that like if like 40% of the decks in the meta are playing Zon Warrens, they'll just do it for us, and we don't need to do that. But I do think I agree that that's a little odd.
Yeah, drawing 3 with Ezreal is always nice, and like if you're going to be discarding a card anyways, I think that's something that I think people underappreciate is that this isn't like Magic where you're either going to be discarding a land, which is something that is going to be excessive and you don't need any more of to draw your 2, or you'll be discarding a spell in order to, if you have like too many spells and not enough lands, you can like balance it out to make the discard 1 draw 2 more of a thing. We don't really have much in terms of graveyard synergy yet, and I don't believe this deck plays any that I can see anyways. So just having something, because every card is gas and you put it in your deck to actually want to play it in a game like this, having something that is quite literally trash to discard every single time and accrue some additional value is quite nice, especially when you know that you always have access to an Israel. And then obviously it plays the additional 2 copies. So I don't hate it.
Yes, the Virgin Whisperer versus the Chad Netdecker just changed nothing. And yeah, I mean, sometimes it works out. This guy got second place. So something to note about the scrap heaps too is it does untap the rat if you have to play it. So it does double as another gear here, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, the side is more or less the same. I think I said what the fuck to this Orin last week, and I'm saying what the fuck to this Orin again, but I guess it's you do get to gear it up. You get to gear it up with the coals and the gold, and it's just a big deflect body. So I do understand its function, especially against a deck like Kaiser.
Yeah.
You just like get to get this massive body that they have to pay infinite deflect costs to deal with. So checks out here. I do find one thing I do think is interesting is the Bellows Breath was not mained. Thought that was a little weird. I figured a deck like this would play Bellows Breath in the main. Am I missing it? No Bellows Breath main. Yeah, that one seems a little odd to me. Someone asked, why do you think China doesn't play Control Ezreal when the Western players swear it's just 10x better? I don't actually have any theories about that. Colin, thoughts why they might think that?
I honestly, we just have different takes on metagames and such, and I think we've seen not too much in terms of innovation when it comes to lists over here. So I don't know. Neither is particularly performed well for us in testing. Getting to Philip's question, I'm sure some people have said that this deck performs well in a Draven. It has not performed particularly well for us in our testing, so it's not something that I would ever condone as a Draven Slayer. It does have some aspects of the deck that are good in a Draven and has certain draws that can do well. But in general, I would be on the side that like this deck's a little too inconsistent to really consistently beat Draven in my mind. I mean, has a lot of the right keys and such, but yeah, from our testing, it hasn't done super well into Draven. It's not like unwinnable by any means, and it probably does better than most decks, but not to a point where we don't think Draven's tier 0.
Yeah, so I think this deck is fine. I'll be the first Challenger TCG member to admit that this deck might be B tier. I'll give it a bump. We said C tier, but I'll give it the certified B tier. I think people putting it in like S tier, A tier is still a little bit of a reach, but I'm always the first to admit when I'm wrong, and I'll say this is probably a B tier deck. They figured it out. I think the Rat Cole is the way to go. I don't really fuck with the control version. I just think they're better. I think the Victor and the Kaiser kind of do it better than this deck does, but each their own. I think the Rat. I think one thing we were worried about when we built this deck originally was the win cons were kind of questionable, but I think the Rat has really done a lot for this deck. So I I bangs with the rat.
Yeah. Yeah. Outside of that, we were the only people to put Kaiser in S tier. Just saying. And lo and behold, here she is up at the top again.
Yep.
So,
and oh my god, look who it is. The once feared Draven.
Is he a certified jabroni this set?
Yes.
Short answer, yes.
Jabroni.
Long answer, also yes.
Draven has fallen so far from grace, now sitting at a whopping third place. The meta is solved. We're saved. This is like, we did it, Patrick. We saved the city. Like, Draven has fallen all the way to third place. And there's not much to like. I'm really not going to sit down and dissect the deck list here because, I mean, like, I guess there's a Legion Rearguard. That's like the one change I see in this deck that's like doing anything out of the ordinary. We've seen the last week. We've seen the cutback on Ferris Forerunner. We see the Mind Splitters made. We see some Edge of the Knights. They're China's favorite card against the odds. We do see Cleaves over Blood Rushes here, which is kind of interesting. But there's not a whole lot to talk about with this list. Piercing Light in the side, sure. Like this
looks like a very mediocre list. That's
the
sideboard especially is terrible. I understand where he's going for with the rear guards. I don't think that they really work in my mind, but
they do not.
Maybe there's some merit to it. But
Gallagher TCG on damage cutting China showed Draven as a guaranteed deck.
Yeah, it definitely is. So we're just
Yeah. I mean, there's
barely holding on here.
I can give some theories as to why I thought. I mean, we already talked about why we think it was lower played, as why it didn't perform as well. I have to look at a bracket because this is what we talk about when we talk about data. Is like how many of these Dravens played each other. Like if half of them just got cut out right away because they all paired each other in the first round of top. These things all matter, right? Like, and that goes to Draven's overperformance too. When you see all of top four as a Draven, you have to ask, okay, did the Dravens dodge all the other Dravens? Like, these are things that are important to look at this data. So I'm not going to speculate too much. I can tell you that the number was certainly lower. But again, this is part of it's a bracket thing. How many of them played each other? Could there mathematically be only so many because they played so many of each other? I know it sounds like coping or defending Draven, but like there is a lot of stuff to consider here. But I think people, kind of like Colin said, some people have lost interest because they had their invite and they want a metal card now. So some of the better players have switched to other decks. I think that players are getting better at playing against Draven to some extent. Like there is a little bit of improvement there. And yeah, some of the other decks have improved a little bit. I don't think this makes it any less the League of Draven, to be clear, but I just think that this deck is it's for various reasons it's dropping down a little bit. And then of course the People's Champion, the French wonder of the world, our boy Randy TCG. For those of you who don't know, Randy was so ungraciously screwed out of his win in top four by the evil Chinese judges. So the Chinese screw job, if you will. And for those of you who didn't see that, yes, for those of you who didn't see what happened, I'll give you, I'm not going to pull it up, but I'll just give you a quick summation of what happened because it's just pretty much like this. Randy tries to, he conquers with the last rites. He tries to play Rasa from his graveyard. He has to pay one extra because the Rasa does not count itself while it's in the bin. It comes out and then checks for cost. So you pay one more than what's actually in the bin. He goes to play to base thinking it costs 3. The judges then inform him it costs 4, so they rewind. But they tell Randy he's locked into playing it at base because once he plays it for 4, he wants to play it to the battlefield because he had Nezreal in hand that he was going to play with his 3 last mana up. But they forced him to rewind and told him, no, you have to play it in the base, which is not what the rules call for, by the way. The rules call for something completely different. But they told him he had to play it to base anyways. He appealed it. He appealed again. They told him no. I've already offered my opinion on this subject yesterday. I think based on his experience and what George G told us his experience was in China, these judges are very have a lot of favoritism towards their own players. And if I heard one experience of this, I wouldn't think anything of it. Seeing it and hearing it twice from two separate people has me convinced that something kind of fishy is going on, especially when they're like these judges are not paying attention half the time on stream. They're letting cards get cast for free. We literally encountered in the tournament last week where a rewind situation that was almost exactly the same occurred, and they allowed the player to change their play. And granted, different judges might make different rulings, but the consistency is kind of all over the place for me. I think it feels like pretty clear favoritism to me. I can't prove that, of course, but everything I've observed, I can tell you if this happened to a Chinese player in America, there would definitely be some form of outrage if this had happened multiple times to a Chinese player. So
yeah, it's something that I've experienced as well. I did esports a little bit, and in that game, it was a Chinese battle royale called Naraka Blade Point. I went to Worlds for that game, and they specifically targeted everyone that was not a Chinese player to give us a pretty heavy disadvantage. Was a thing where like ping was a heavy thing as it is in any online game, and everyone that was a China resident was playing it specifically on zero ping at the same server that was hosted, and we were hosted in Singapore, where our ping ended up being much higher at like 60 to 70, which is an obvious disadvantage. And then, beyond that, all the rulings ended up going in their favor whenever there were any issues or technical issues that never ended up mattering for us. They just kind of did everything they could to sabotage us. We were basically just there to showboat and show how much better China is than everyone else. And I wouldn't say it's necessarily racism here. It's more of just like they're very very nationalistic.
Yes,
is the way that it is.
Yes, I do not think this was racism. I think if there was a player from another country in Asia, they may have received the same treatment. I will tell you that having played card games in Japan several years in a row, this kind of thing occurred there too, with the judges, with the way they interact with players. And I've experienced it in other countries too where I've traveled. I will say it has been much worse in the Asian regions than any other region I've experienced. And again, I don't think this is a racism thing. I think this is a nationalistic thing.
No.
If let's say a Japanese player had been there, I think they would have experienced a similar phenomenon. I know people are calling me tinfoil hat, but I call it like I see it. Two people have told me this has been their experience now. I'm watching it happen on stream. I've watched the judges rule games that happened with similar rulings, and they give the player a rewind. They don't give Randy a rewind here. It's not a good look. That's just how I feel about it. And I'll admit, I'm biased. Randy's my boy. George had this happen to him too. He's my boy too, so I can admit I'm biased when I say these things. But that is my take. I feel strongly about this. That I think this was this did happen at Force of Will. This was a big I won't get into that, but this did happen at Force of Will at year 1. Something very similar to this. I've experienced it myself personally. I've seen it happen before in other card games, so that's just kind of where I stand on it. It is a little tinfoil hat theory, but I don't know. I don't like what I saw here, and yeah, that's kind of all there is to it. So,
let's see. Z-Tree saying more optimistic reading of it. The judges made a big mistake earlier. Free review can want to go exactly by their book. If this was in the rule books, then I would agree. But this is very distinctly against the rule book, so they decided to shift things in the favor of Randy's opinion.
So, I don't hate that the theory that this was an overcorrection in response to Free Buke. I don't despise that theory. I'm not going to run with it because the evidence, there's a lot of evidence that supports what I'm saying here, but I won't discredit the fact that maybe this was an overcorrection in response to Free Buke.
For sure.
So
I can only speak from my personal experience and how I've dealt with it. But yeah, it's as we said, it's not really a racism thing. It's just a nationalistic thing, from what we could tell. So,
Yep.
but that's about all we'll comment on that.
Yep.
Randy's list seemed to perform pretty well for him throughout the event. Yeah, very interesting list with some cool cards in it. Treasure Trove, essentially just as a 2 energy, make a gold, draw a card, is pretty cool. We still get to play Scrap Heaps. Our low unit count is definitely the strangest thing that I've seen. I guess we're relying on last rights a lot, but I know Rennie's been testing this deck a bunch and kind of trying to come up with what he thinks is the perfect list. So, yeah, it obviously performed pretty well for him. And yeah, if you're looking to play Sliver, this is a good one.
So, little bit of toolboxing here. And so I want to talk about the sideboard. I know everybody's going to say, Alex, the one-ofs, don't defend your boy on the one-ofs, but I have said repeatedly that if you're playing these miracle style decks, this is one of the few decks where the one-ofs actually make sense because you dig so much and you have so much, like, I've talked about my rules of one-ofs, and one of the rules of one-ofs I mentioned is when you can tutor them, they're acceptable. Well, this deck is sort of tutoring in how much it actually draws. And he didn't have that many one-ofs. It's a last rights and an on the hunt in the main, and a one rebuke. So there's only 3 one-ofs, which in a deck that draws this much, this is fine. Like I don't think this is. I think last rights especially is like the ultimate one-of. I think this is like one of the best one-ofs to play in the game right now. I won't speak to rebuke. I think that might be a little. That one I'm a little questionable on, Randy. But I haven't played enough Sliver. He made top 4. I didn't, so I'm just a bum sitting in a chair here. Who am I to tell him otherwise? But I do think this is questionable. On the hunt kind of makes sense. It's a combo piece. It's a way to win. It's like another confront, if you will, with different applications. So that one makes a little bit more sense to me. The rebuke, again, is just where I kind of... But maybe because of Fizz being able to pick it up, maybe because your shovel cycling it back. And if you watched Randy, he actually was writing down. Anytime he would cycle cards to the bottom of his deck, he was writing it down. So he could know exactly when, because he was digging through his whole deck. So, yeah. So, and then the sideboard, Randy tweeted out he would not have played Cannon Barrage. He just didn't know what else to play. That was a big question people kept asking. They're like, what's the Cannon Barrage for? And he said he wouldn't have played it. So, yeah, I mean, the Akshan made sense. We got to see this in action. I couldn't tell you, given 1 million different guesses, why the Downwell was in here. I'm not even going to speculate. I have literally no idea why this Downwell was in here. Rune Runner.
Yeah, I don't know.
Again, I think Rune Runner seems a little sus to me. I guess it's a punch first target against the control decks. That's a question I have to ask Randy himself. Unyielding makes perfect sense. You play against like a damage-based removal deck. You don't actually have that many threats in your deck, so you do need to protect them where you can. Hard bargain, same thing. Akshan to steal whatever type of gear you need. All those make sense to me. Downwell, I could play 21 questions and probably still couldn't figure out why it's in there. So, yeah. So that's kind of. I think this was great. This was awesome. I'm not a Sliver fan, but I'm clearly Randy's a master of his craft, and it was nice to see him just. He went there solo. Like, he was talking to me here. He sent me videos of his hotel while he was there. He's like, dude, my hotel's insane. This was like $200 for like 3 nights in like a 5-star hotel. Like, he was amped to be there. He's still there right now. I think he's going to try to play in the National. So, I mean, hats off to Randy, man. It sucks what happened to him. He took it like a champ, too. He even said on Twitter, he's like, my opponent didn't try to angle shoot me or tell the judges I was cheating. He sat there and said nothing. Like, he was a good sport about it. So I love to see that from the players when the players aren't trying to like buy into these bad rulings. That's awesome to see. So I will give credit to the Chinese players, all the shit we give them for playing slow and whatnot, and some of their questionable one-of choices. Well, mostly me. But he said his opponent was a great dude, didn't do anything, and Randy took it pretty well, all things considered. So I got to give it to him. Hats off to Randy. Go check out his Metafy as well. Randy TCG, guys. Like I said, great dude. Moving on.
Let's see. I see a long comment here from Taki. I want to respond to essentially with that, with the ruling thing. I get the take, essentially stating that it could be open the door for angle shooting if you were to go for something like this where you realize it, but in like a technical sense, but in reality, it clearly was just like a mistake that was made.
There's no
and
there's no
if
angle to be shot.
Yeah, if you're rewinding to that point, then typically in card games, you can the decision is. I can understand the idea that like the decision is made in such a way that it would have to be committed to that. But if the play is illegal, then typically you rewind to the point then before the card is even played or something to that nature. But I could see it either way. From my understanding of what I've been told, the rules would allow you to rewind to the point, especially because as of current, they're getting significantly more lenient on the rules as opposed to the original like day one rules where like if you flipped your runes, you no longer get an arena's greatest trigger, right? That's no longer the case. They're really trying to lax on these things in my take. So this is all speculation. We don't know anything for sure. I can only really speak from my experience in playing in tournaments over there.
Yeah, I will add this too, that if you watch that video back, again, I played it on stream yesterday. I'm not going to go through it, but if you watch that video back, we went through it and we walked through the steps and we're like, does Randy win for sure if he gets to make this play? And the answer is yes. There's no edge to be gained from there. He's just losing the game. I understand in some situations a player could do that, but he could, like, if I'm talking to a judge, and unfortunately the judges, I don't think, spoke English very well, so it's hard to explain, but if I'm speaking to a judge, I can speak to a judge and explain to them rationally why there is no reason why I would angle shoot here, why I'm just throwing the game away, or inting, as league players would say.
Even if you were, angle shooting is apparently only a warning in this game, so it's clearly not something that they are concerned with.
We'll talk about that when we come to rule changes, but it's, as a side note, Claudio MTG says taking note like that should be illegal. I brought this up on stream yesterday. I think in untimed top cut, it's fine. I think in Swiss, Randy was pretty fast, but I think in Swiss, I explained this. If you're doing this, you do this every single time you loot a card. If it's your turn when you're cycling cards to the bottom, even though it's not a lot of time you take up, like even if you do it in like 10 seconds or less, imagine doing these actions so many times over the course of the game. You're going through a whole deck like at least once. You're playing multiple cards that dig and put cards to the bottom. Over the course of the game, you're going to chew like 3 to 5 minutes off the clock just doing this. And maybe if you're super fast with all your other actions, it's fine. But I personally might take some issue with that much note taking in an untimed setting. Or in a time setting, sorry. In an untimed setting, I would not care. I would just let my opponent do it. I don't care. Like, I'll let the judges call him for slow play if they want to. When I can't get screwed for untimed, I'm almost never calling my opponent for slow play. I do not care. I will let the judges do that. There's no advantage to be gained outside of them getting to think longer. So they have to be taking
over there,
they're
over there they're literally taking 10 minutes per turn anyways. So it's like they're so used to playing slow, it's crazy. So
the next regionals is coming this weekend. I think it's supposed to be 2,000 people, and we will be streaming that this weekend. So make sure to check it out. Billionaire's back, and he's angrier than ever after his misplay this weekend. So get ready for some of that Billionaire action you guys have come to know and love. We're ready for it. So and we'll all be there too. But he'll be running the stream this time, unlike myself. Anyways,
as we get into this, I mean, I think this is just the Fiora hook list that we saw last time, right? Not really.
There's not much more to discuss here. Are the battlefields the same? Was it Dreaming Tree, Candlelit?
I do not remember, to be honest.
But yeah, this is
I can
more or less the same. I think did we have Call to Glory last time too? It looks pretty much the same. Yeah, it's like kind of the same deck, same idea. I guess this deck is more
random
consistent.
2 of Call of Glory.
Yeah, I think this deck is more consistent than we originally gave it credit for. You guys have been asking for a Fiora guide. I think I was playing Fiora a little bit at the beginning of the set's full preview. I think we're gonna chop off the Victor guide, and I'm going to shift to a Fiora guide now to give you guys what you want. So I'm gonna be kind of locking in on Fiora for these next couple weeks leading up to the event and trying to write a guide for this. Hopefully, I can have that out. I can't promise it'll be out before Bologna, but I'm going to try my damnedest. I'm putting the finishing touches on the Rek'Sai guide. Should have that out Wednesday. And then I will start cooking up this Fiora guide because it seems like that's what you guys want. No one's done one yet, so I think I'm ready.
Yeah. Can you scroll up to the player's name? I'm curious if it was the same guy because it's almost card for card the same list. They just played a third.
It is Cookie.
Huh? No, that's who uploaded it. Okay, no, it's a different deck.
Okay.
Or a different player, but yeah. It's basically card for card the same hook list. So if you like baited hook action, this is good. And I think this is the best way to play Fiora. So if you're looking to play Fiora, definitely play this list.
What tier are we placing this list in? I like Fiora. I wanted to play Fiora from the beginning. I just gave up maybe a little too early. I would say Fiora's is B, like maybe even bottom of A. I really like what Fiora's been real impressive. 3 top 4s, 2 finals, right? 2 finals, 3 top 4s.
Mm-hmm.
I've been very impressed with Fiora, so I'm going to do bottom of A. We'll have a tier list going into Bologna, an updated tier list.
Yeah, for sure.
I will fight for you as real players to get him in B tier. Whether they're going to have to drag me, pry it from my cold dead hands, but I promise you as real players, I will do my damnedest to make sure he's in B tier. But yeah, not much else to say about this list. It's just more consistent than I think we gave it credit for, or I gave it credit for. Another Draven deck.
I think they still use dice rolls for this event, right?
Yeah, they did use dice rolls in Top Cut. We did see dice rolls on stream. So, how do we feel about Cookie's choice to play Candle Game 1 instead of Trifarian? I'm gonna withhold. I just don't know enough about this style of Fiora deck. I haven't played it enough, so I don't want to offer my opinion. I'm not sure there's much of a difference between the two, except maybe in specific matchups. But I'm gonna withhold my opinion until I play it more. I don't like offering uneducated opinions on card games. Everything else in life, I'll give you a bullshit opinion, but not card games. So I'm gonna withhold. I'm gonna withhold my opinion on or thoughts as to why that might be. This is just a standard Draven deck. I'm not gonna keep going over these. We've got some buys in the 2-drop slot. Holy fucking 2-drops, Captain. 11 2-drops? Man, this guy got fucked one too many times going first. Holy shit. 11
Piercing Light's cute. It's probably a good way to win the mirror.
Yeah, I think Piercing Light's great in the mirror. Pretty one of cleave. Get the fuck out of here. Like 1 cleave and 2 spinning axe. Come on. Just make it a 3rd spinning axe. Like, what are we doing here?
It's don't worry, the 3rd spinning axe is in the board, Alex. You're good. Sure, they swap that out quite often.
We got our first Aurelia. She really took a dive straight off a cliff with her placement. And
I'm a little surprised in this meta. From our testing, Aurelia has performed pretty well into non-Draven decks, but I think because of that, all these Aurelia decks have kind of overcompensated in order to make Aurelia good in, well, I'll say good in quotation marks. You're still not favored, but to at least have some game into Draven, you have to make all of your other matchups worse. So now that Draven's kind of fallen off in quotation marks, yeah, we're not seeing as much Aurelia, but yeah, this is basically the sneaky deckhands. Like that's
the
anti-Draven
main. That's a crazy one. Good old freaky deckhand.
In order to beat Draven, you have to score points early, so I'm guessing that's what they're going for, is just playing the sneaky to a battlefield and immediately.
We went from the side. We went from siding it to just now 3 of them in the main, no 2-drops. We're ready. So this was, and we've got perfect example of where one of acceptable. This is the ultimate example. Guardian Angel, Sonya's Hourglass. Sonya's Hourglass is literally the exact Miser's copy of the Guardian Angel. This is the perfect example of a Miser's copy. This is just a fourth Guardian Angel with very little. They determined Guardian Angel was the slightly better one, so they maxed that one first, and then they said, "I need a fourth one." Sonya's Hourglass, perfect example of when this is acceptable. This, on the other hand, is fucking straight crackhead shit. Why the fuck are we playing Defy? Like, one Defy? Like, come on. Where seriously, every spell and
we draw a lot of cards, but yeah.
No, every spell except Rebuke and Switch, like Fight or Flight. God, why am I drawing a blank?
It's here? Just fight or flight or ride.
Ride. The pump. Any of the pumps. Any Cleaves, Blood Rushes, the one with the guy with the spear whose name always escapes me. All of these cards are counterable by this. Like, okay, you can't stop Rebuke. It was so funny. The funniest thing watching this on stream, actually, I want to pull this up, but one of the funniest moments, I should have prepared this, was all game, this guy has 3 Not So Fast in his hand versus Randy. Randy sabos him multiple times and never takes a Not So Fast. This guy loots on Zon Warrens multiple times, never discards a Not So Fast. I'm like, brother, if he's not taking them from your hand, what do you think they're targeting in his deck? He looked at your hand multiple times, and he did not discard one. He clearly doesn't care about them, so you shouldn't either. He died with 3 Not So Fast in hand. It was crazy or 2. It was crazy to watch. Like, just, he had these Not So Fast rot in his hand forever. So yeah, this was a card I do fuck with that I think the Aurelia decks should play more of. Heart of Dark Ice. I love this card. I think this card's gas, actually. But it does not seem to be getting a lot of play right now. Maybe that's because the power cost. I don't know. But yeah. Any more thoughts here, Colin? Why?
No. It's just kind of stock Aurelia, more or less. A couple of changes here or there. At the end of the day, the core strategy never really changes of this deck. It's just how you get there. So
yeah. Someone said, why not 3 reposts in Fiora? That's a great question. I'd probably play 3. I think that's like one of the reasons to play Fiora, but I'd have to test it more. Is MF still A tier? Haha. We're working on MF still. We just needed to get, if it can beat Miracles, I'll probably play MF. That's how like confident I am in MF right now. Is if it could just beat Miracles, I would feel very good about playing MF personally. So
yeah.
Thoughts on running EON versus Sword and Draven? What's EON?
Edge of Night. It's something that we're testing as well. It's got some utility that's not bad, and being able to tap out and still have that equip up is nice. So we're definitely considering it ourselves.
Would Sabrina Carpenter play Trifarian? I'll ask her in my next in my next message to her, in my next parasocial message to her. I'll ask her.
MF Aurora, yeah, MF Aurora.
Sabrina plays Rockfall Path. I can fix her. Mind Splitter and Aurelia. I agree. I like Mind Splitter and Aurelia. I think the Mind Splitter innovation is great. Dark Ice is too slow.
Guess we can look at this Jackson Lucian list, I guess, before.
Yep. So I am going to pull up a video for this because I want you guys to kind of see this. I should have prepared this a little more in advance, but I have a pretty good idea of where it's at. But I'm going to talk about this a little bit. This was one of the coolest decks to see in Top Cut. Because, whoa, what is it? Aphelios. Oh my god. I didn't even see this in the list. When you attach an equipment to me, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Ready 2 runes. That's crazy. That makes this deck even
cooler. We have a reader.
65% on the spiciness. Okay, that's got to be the spiciest deck in Top Cut, right? I want to make sure that there was not a deck that they rated spicier than this. Got a Draven at 60%. How could a Draven be 60%?
I think it's just like compared to the majority. So Miracle Draven always has a high spicy
Yeah,
rating.
we didn't have no.
So it's
That might be
not.
the highest
It's an
spiciness.
automated thing.
Yeah, that might be the highest spiciness rating in this whole damn tournament. Like 65% is crazy. Uh, that's unconventional as hell. Like, so if you guys watched, so there's what's nine weapons in this deck. If you watched, it was really crazy to watch this, and I'll bring it up in a sec here. Watching the player, like do these tricks where he would take turns where he would literally leave all his mana up, and then the moment the other player did anything, he would just go react, drop all the weapons from my hand with this chosen champ Jax. It was really, really cool to watch. I'm gonna pull it up on stream here. Yes, Aphelios, Daylog, Alex. Yeah, I don't know how to change the light mode, brother. That's not going away. I'm sorry, man. I don't know how to fix that issue. This was the top 8. Was this the top 8 stream? I think. See if I can bring this up here. Okay, yeah. I have it here. So this was a really cool line this guy was executing. And I never thought to play Jax like this, but I'm going to pull it up for you guys. So let's see if I can get right to it. Again, I apologize. I should have probably brought this up a little bit in advance. But, okay, so right here, I think this is the sequence, right? So his opponent does whatever. His opponent's going to Mind Splitter him here, I think. Yep, he's gonna tap out here. And Jax player, this is like crazy. This is when I was like, oh, maybe this guy's cooking. I think this is the sequence I was thinking of. Yep. Weapon.
This is a Draven player? Okay.
Yeah, this is into miracles. Wait for it. Miracles. Weapon. Oh, sorry, the ability, so it takes no damage this turn. And he has so many cards in his hand because of the Dreaming Tree, because he has so many self-targets. So look, he just draws 2, counter-strike, and then he goes, oh, weapon again. But we're not done. Billy Mays here, but wait, there's more. Weapon again. Like, this is crazy. Watching this live was insane. Like, this was the Free Buke player, yes. This was in fact the Free Buke player, but this was crazy. Just watch him go weapon, like draw 2, weapon. I was getting hyped for him. I was rooting for this guy. This was cool as hell. So that is the Free Buke, the villain, Mr. Free Buke himself, John Free Buke.
Yeah, I feel like you don't even need Free Bukes against a deck like this. Like, I don't know how this deck is ever beating a single Rebuke.
Yeah.
So,
but it was so cool as hell to see him just like playing like almost like control Jax, where he's just leaving all his mana up and he's like weapon like every turn. And he had these crazy draw engines too, which I thought was awesome. Watching him do his draw engine shenanigans with the he had the Dreaming Tree.
This is the guy who flamed George, the Free Buke guy.
He flamed George.
Not so fast to counter Rebuke? Yes, obviously, but we also play Mind Splitters, and the Miracle version plays 4 Rebukes, and you're a Jax deck that doesn't draw cards, so...
Yeah, so...
Oh, interesting.
I don't know the story behind that, but... So...
Well, he's also a dirty cheater, so... like, who cares?
Yes. What did he do to George? I want to hear this story, but all 3 of his battlefields are draw engines, so... And I've been talking about this since set 2 came out. I've been talking to Colin about this in his set deck. The Warmog's armor plus the Monastery, broken. Just full draw engine. Love that shit. And then we've got, of course, the Sunken Temple, the Dreaming Tree. Like it was crazy just watching him at all times have 6 cards in his hand, and he would like dump his whole hand. Like he'd play like 4 cards like he did right there, and you'd look at him next turn, and he'd be back to 6 again. It was like, dude, this deck is crazy. So. I fuck with this deck. He deserves a 65 spicy meter. And if you'll notice something about this deck, this man doesn't play a goddamn single one of. Not anywhere in his main deck does he have a single fucking one of. And even in his board, his one-ofs are just to complete the three-ofs. The only one is the Chosen Champ. That's the only one of. I fucking love this guy. He's my man's. He's who I'm rooting for from now on. If I see this guy in a tournament, I don't know what his name is, but if I see him, he's my boy. I'm not gonna read that. But yes, this is my dude. Almost all three ofs, like three, a few twos here and there, but even the twos, he sided up to threes. Like, this guy's the GOAT. He's the greatest player in all of China. A++, and he did not get screwed by Free Bukeman, so someone said he was trash talking George after the set 1 regionals and the Chinese players hate him now. Well, they really hate him now. Like, this guy's actually just built himself to be the villain, the villain in China Riftbound, or Chinese Riftbound. So I love this dude. This guy's the GOAT. I don't know who you are, man, but if you're watching this right now, reach out to me. I want to hear about your Jax deck. This shit was awesome. Like, this shit was so cool. I don't know what the fuck the Aphelios is for. I'm not even going to pretend to understand it, but this deck was cool as fuck. No one-ofs, like, just, this was nice. Like, yes. So, moving on. We've got the first Lucian. Ooh. And, I mean, do we have the combo? Yeah, the combo, good old combo Lucian. I mean, this is your bag, Colin, so let's hear it.
Oh, the Lucian list. Let me pull it up here since my stream's giga delayed. This is the wrong regional. Yeah, combo Lucian. We got Doran Blades, Hex Blades, 3 of our Lucian. Only 2 or 3 2-drops as Gym Jammers, so that's at least somewhat interesting. But I assume that this deck is just playing around the idea of going second all the times, but we're still playing Noxious Hopeful, so, but it's just because that card's broken, so. Yeah, I like this list. I mean, I do think it's like a solid C tier, maybe B tier at best sort of list, but it's got some game. Piercing Lights are interesting. This is just kind of pretty similar to what we've already seen and played with, though, so I don't think I have too much to note here. You're just trying to assemble Skyfall plus Triforce, because that's how you win the game. Into Draven, you have your Lucian Merciless to score points safely, which is quite nice. You still get to play Sabos for their rebukes. Challenge to get rid of some of their units when you have like a big dude suited up with all this gear. I think this is the best Lucian list I've seen so far. So if you're looking to play Lucian, I'd say start here for sure.
So yeah, I mean, I don't have much to add. Lucian's not really my bag. I just think this is a very all-in glass canny type deck, and it's it's just not my thing. I do not know why Angle Shot is a card that, like, there must be some rule that says Angle Shot can only be played as a one of, because I feel like anytime I see this card in a deck, it's always a one of, and it's never anything more. I don't know if there's like some like there's a restricted list for this card. Is it like Gust, where they just have like this like unspoken agreement that you're only allowed to play one of it? I truly don't understand it, but yeah, one of Angle Shot.
I mean, it's just the type of card that is like the perfect one of for inexperienced deck builders who are just like, oh yeah, this is an effect that would be cool to have sometimes. So, and then worst case it cycles. So I think a one of is fine. It's not really going to drastically change your deck here or there. Sometimes you'll get people with it. But you don't want too many copies of them. So
someone asked if you would play Darius and Lucian. Give me one second.
I like Darius in these lists personally, but I haven't really seen it too much. The only issue that Darius really runs into is that you don't really have like a mass amount of cards. So the way that you want to use Darius is like copies of Lucian 4 to 6, and playing 2 cards every single turn can sometimes be difficult. So I think that's a specific reason why we don't see Darius too much. But in concept, I like it. I don't know if in practice it'll be consistent enough though to get its untap trigger. So
yeah. I'm not a Lucian guy personally.
No punch first is crazy. Yeah, I can agree with that.
No
but
punch first.
you're not really a whole deck I'm assuming, the idea behind it. Punch Force is definitely more of a hold card, and if you aren't trying to hold, then you don't really need it. And this deck never has any issues breaking into battlefields, so
Whoa!
I can see it.
Whoa! What in the fuck is this? What did they give this on the spiciness meter? 46. Okay, that's probably appropriate.
Where do you guys get those Chinese breakdowns from the events that show day 1/day 2 results? Usually they're just posted on stream whenever we watch the stream.
Yeah, they show them at the stream on the stream at the start of each day. So Friday they'll show the breakdown. Start of Saturday they'll show the top cut breakdown. And then like Rift and Runes will post them, or will post them, or someone will just rip the graphic from the stream and post them. You can usually find them on Twitter pretty easily. That's all I did. So,
yeah, what's with the KTOD shirt, bud? What's that all about?
Wait, what? What about, who said that?
Where's our Challenger TCG shirt?
I only got one
Spencer
of those.
said KTOD shirt is crazy.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Where is that? What, can I not see the? Wait, where is that comment? I actually can't.
Spencer in the YouTube chat. It is the second most recent comment.
That's crazy. It's actually not coming up for me. Hold on. Now I'm a little worried. Is my chat's not? My chat's not.
You can just refresh or something.
No, because my chat's on the back end. But anyways, yeah, the KTOD. Yeah, I have a bunch of KTOD shirts. I only have one Challenger TCG shirt, and I can't wear them for every stream. I typically save it. We'll have more soon, though. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll get them suited up and be the walking billboard.
Suited up. I'm the one buying all the shirts. What the fuck is this? I'll get me suited up. Yeah.
I need the Challenger TCG Hawaiian shirt.
They're not in direct competition, to be clear. So this is okay. I checked with our lawyers.
We're friends with everyone at KTOD, obviously.
Yes. Bobby Sapphire is actually the one who set up our whole Discord. So yeah, big and big fans of the KTOD. So why isn't my thing just not refreshing? Weird. But anyway, so moving forward, we've got this crazy Kaiser list. And well, I say crazy, but it's not that crazy. But
I think
Rengar is crazy. Come on, Rengar.
I mean, this is somebody was asking about Pogger's Day versus Premonition. I think this is the type of list I would probably rather have the one in Premonition, just because we have Noxious Hopefuls and a bunch of units and stuff that we can play. We have the Dariuses and stuff, so I think Premonition is good here. But I mean, it's just a Kaiser list. 2 singularities, blasphemy. But
this is like so. Yeah, this is where the Void Seeker should have been. This is where the other guy was cooking with the one of just make this another singularity. I like retreats. I like retreats here again. Yeah, like the Rengar is the one I don't get. But wait. This guy has 6 2-drop. This guy has 6 2-drops, brother. You are gonna go first and miss one time and just be absolutely sick. Like how can you dare justify? Are you opting to go second? Like how can you dare justify in a deck like this playing 6?
I mean, you only have plays. You only have 8 turn 2 plays. You're not playing turn 1 Rengar going second. So
you are if you miss. It's you are gonna have to. It's that or miss. Not play anything. I mean, I guess you can play Stupefy plus.
I'd almost rather not play anything. Play like a Void Seeker or something if they let you. At least keep them off the points. But yeah,
this is. I mean,
it's crazy.
Forecaster with no other mechs is just like that. That's diabolical. Like. You're not playing any other mechs,
just
not
playing
even the
Vision Pora, like
no Ferris Forerunner is just crazy. Like, how can you not play Ferris Forerunner somewhere in the 48? That's like, and then we've got Minotaur Reckoner. Like, brother, what are you doing here? Like, this is this is crackhead shit. Like, there's no way you determine this to be better. Like, you only get to play 2 2-drops, and this is one of them with no other mechs. Like, no, Rengar's not like secretly a mech. Like a cat, yeah. No, that's gonna be a no for me, dog. You get the downvote. Hope the Jack Sky smokes you. You are nope.
Yeah.
Aurelia. Oh, look, it's another Aurelia. This version with some 2-drops.
I think we've covered most of the spicy list at
Yeah.
this point, right?
Yeah, I think
We
we're going to
give
go
you
down a
the-
little bit more. I'm just going to run through these as a courtesy just to make sure we don't miss anything. 2-drops Aurelia or whatever. Same thing, Sneaky D's. We've seen it all before. Another Lucian. A little bit different. We've got Bone Shivers and Rune Runners in this list. We do have the Punch first. Of course, we've got the combo. I mean, Legion Rear Guards. This one's a little bit different from the other one. Oh, Falling Stars in the side. Okay. Got the Ferris Forerunner, the one of Ferris Forerunner, the one of Thunder Song. This is a little weird. Only one of each, but whatever. Nothing too crazy here. Aurelia. We're not going to talk about that. Wait, is that a... Whoa. Oh my god. Hallelujah. This guy is playing 3 Gusts in his deck. You are the smartest Aurelia player in all of China, bud. You deserve to win this. I'm almost sad to see you get 14th. That's quite upsetting. Yeah. It's another rat reel. A Draven 60%. Holy shit! What does 60% look like? Oh, it's just they still give 60% to Miracle Draven. Like, come on. You see at the guns.
It's like I said,
hybrid.
It's
like a hybrid.
It's just relative. Spiciness is not anything that matters.
Yeah, so we got Ravens. I'm going to skip these Ravens, these Kaisas. Let's take a look at the Yi.
This 30th place Yi list.
Yeah, why not? Block. 1 block.
Yep.
I don't think I've
That
ever
should probably
seen this
just be a
played.
thwonk.
Yeah, this should definitely just be a thwonk. And we've already got
people love their random
one
one-ofs in that deck that doesn't draw any cards. You got your 1 meditation, 1 not so fast, 1 marching orders, 1 block, 1 guardian angel, 1 tasty, 1 white flame, 1 Aurelia, 1 Janna, 1 stalwart porter, 1 sea monkey. Go ahead and get that out before you have an aneurysm.
Yeah, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Sire
7,
Victor feels bad.
8, 9. This
just wasn't their day.
10 one up? Did I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 one-ofs. This is a fucking EDH deck. I would boot your ass out of Top Cut so quick. This is the most one-ofs I've ever seen in one of these decks. I wasn't even paying attention when I got here. I was like, man, this deck feels kind of big. This feels like 5 rows here or whatever. My God, brother. I would have your ass thrown out with the quickness. This is not the Commander tournament. That's a side event, bro. Go play in the Commander event. Oh my God! Look at this sideboard. It's an abomination. Oh, I feel like Kaiba when Yugi assembled Exodia. Like, this is like, what the fuck is this? Like, oh my God. Did someone tell him there's not like a limit on how many 3-ofs he can play in his deck? Like, this is definitely someone lost their fantasy league for this one. 1 white flame, 1 dead bloom, 1 tasty. Granted, some of these are multiples, but like, dude, that I would be embarrassed. Imagine seeing open deck lists in top 64 and being like, oh my God, I got the buy, and then this guy just 2-0 claps you, just like draws all his 1-ofs. You're like, well, he only has 1 marching orders, and he just claps your shit with it. This guy played 1 Guardian Angel and 2 Zonya's Hourglass. He determined that Zonya's Hourglass was the better one and still said, nah, I'm not going to max it. I'll play the 1 Guardian Angel. That's crazy. That's lunacy to me. Like, this Yi deck...
Why play Yi over Aurelia? You don't. You just play Aurelia if you want to play.
The only thing that looks fun about this Yi deck is when my opponent rages or crashes out like I am now because they saw your open deck list and said, well, he's only got 1 White Flame Protector and he's only seen 11 cards, so the odds he has it are not great, and then you have it. That's where this deck is fun. That's the only fun part. If you like pissing off people like me, then yes, I'm sure this deck is a lot of fun. 2 to 5, 1 not so fast. What warrants a 3-of to him? What did he think had to be a 3-of? He doesn't. How many turn 1 plays this guy even have? This motherfucker got like 3, 1. He's 5 turn 1 plays. I guess he's got the Guardian Angel and the Zonius, but my God, this is. I'm done. We're done looking at this. I can feel my heart rate spiking. My watch is beeping like beep beep beep, like blood pressure rising. No, we're not doing this.
Yeah. There's not really much else here to cover. There's like a Lux control list. That's the same thing we've seen a million times. It's just the Victor list. It's fine.
Azir. Got Azir with yeah, it's just an Azir deck. I mean, kind of a lot of the same here. I don't think there's anything else to. I'm gonna just do one quick look through here.
I mean, he might be poor, but some of the cards that like should be in the main deck, like the Poro that he's running one over in the sideboard.
Yeah,
I appreciate y'all trying to justify it for this guy, but
he's too poor to afford.
He's just trolling.
He's too poor to afford a third Poro. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, like. Yeah, all right.
He just heard Alex's famous crash outs and wanted to contribute. So
I thought they said a set deck being top 5. Did they miss? Oh yeah, no, here's this. Let's look at this real quick so you can say it's good or bad.
Do I have to? The 51st one. I don't know, man. Like, it's set. It still loses to Draven. Should be. I will always say play 3 Sabo. The 3 Death Grip is crazy. I think that's the card that made me want to stop trying to play Set, because I thought Death Grip was super cool when you could like save with Set and buff something and do a bunch of cool stuff. You could like save your guy from a rebuke and still buff something up. And maybe you're still using Death Grip as like a really bad counter to rebuke, but yeah, it's just like, I don't know, man. It's fine. If you're a Set diehard fan, then I don't think this list is too far off of what I've been playing. I think Bone Shiver is kind of an interesting one. I guess with Set, the plan is to play a Bone Shiver on a Lucian and ramp a bunch in order to play our stuff efficiently. But yeah.
So let's talk about the rules updates. You've been waiting for this, so we'll go over it now. What we're going to talk about here is the rules changes. So for those of you that don't know, on the 29th, so Friday, I think, they dropped some rules changes. And Riot was so kind to drop the rules article, but not actually highlight what has changed. Yeah, thank you for that, Riot. But Dave was so nice to go on Twitter and take time out of his busy day determining if he was going to ban Draven, how he's going to break to the community that he's not banning Draven, to break it all down for us. But there are some things Dave doesn't talk about that I'm going to talk about too, but we'll start with the big ones. If I can. Okay, I guess there's no back button. The back button's just broken. So Dave breaks these down. What the heck? There we go. So, rules for draft added to the limited rules. You can play with mixed language cards, but have to sleeve. So, draft rules added. Great. Whatever. I'm sure Jugger's fans out there somewhere, like cheering.
I mean, that's obviously not a draft thing, since you're never going to have mixed things. I think that's just talking about how you can do that in general.
I when he had them in posts, I thought they were broken up by relevancy, but I realized they're just separate things. So rules for draft, blah blah. We have limited now. Yeah, I don't like limited. You guys probably love limited. It's great for the growth of the game. I'm dubious that their draft format is in any way balanced appropriately. But it's nice to see they have it. I'm not going to comment further until I actually play the draft of this game. But I'm just as a limited hater myself, I'm dubious. You can play with mixed language cards, but have to sleeve. Colin, you have a lot of concerns about this, so I'll let you take over here. This is now the Colin show. So let's talk. Yeah,
this was also one that if you want to figure out how to full screen me, my camera,
I'm already.
I don't know if you can do that.
Yep. So Colin here. So for those of you that don't know, before you had to play full Chinese deck. You had to play a completely full Chinese deck. This is going to be a little blurry, so I apologize, everyone. You had to play a full Chinese deck. Here's full screen Colin here. You had to full Chinese deck.
So
now
get rid of my virtual background as well.
You can play some Chinese card. You can play any number of Chinese and English cards you want. And the reason they did this, assumedly, was to alleviate the stock issue. Hello, doggo. Because there is such a stock deficiency. People cannot get the cards. So this enables people to have access to the cards easier. But Colin's going to bring up a real issue with this, and where this is going to become even more an issue later.
Yeah, this is going to be an issue eventually anyways. So for all of you that are here, this will just be good preparation for y'all. But as I will be using my set deck here as an example, and unfortunately I only have one Chinese card. If y'all ever played against me, this was a gift from my friend Eden. He gave me a Chinese set that he had, but it's got the Chinese printing, so it works as just kind of like a inclusion in the deck, and I have it squared up. My desk is kind of a mess, but
Battle Spirit Saga man spotted.
Demonstration. Yeah. For all of you in the know, get your Battle Spirits product all you can, but I've got a completely squared up deck here, and one thing that you'll find a lot, let's see if I can, might take me a second, but while you're going through a deck, because they're a different printing, what you'll find a lot of the times, let's see if I'm getting it. Yeah, there we go. You'll notice that whenever you if you just like pick it up naturally, I'm sure it's here, just a few cards down, you'll tend to cut, like this is just me cutting around it. I'm 2 cards down. You're just like naturally, because of the way the card's different. Oh, the arena bar. Oh, I cut to the arena bar. It's not the set, actually. That's the next card.
Well, it's the same thing. Yeah, you grab the card above it.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. So sometimes, cut immediately to the arena bar. And all I'm doing is like literally just going off the side and peeling, and it's your fingers just naturally are going to cut just above the card because it's like a different thickness. I'm like literally having the deck as square as possible, and there we go, cutting directly to the card. I'm not doing any fancy tricks or anything like that. This is just how a deck of cards operates, is that if you just do this and like the way that your hands naturally go, it's just going to cut around that set every single time. You see me cutting the same cards every single time, either the set itself, this Kinko Monk, or the arena bar. So this is the issue when you have different printings, is it's just like something that if you don't know, you're just going to naturally do this every single time, because all you're doing is just like, oh, I'm just going to peel off the top of the deck, and for whatever reasons, the logic in it just makes it so that this is the case. So yeah, as y'all can see, I'm literally not doing anything different. I've cut to only 3 cards. I've either cut to the set itself, the Kinko Monk, that's 2 cards up, or the arena bar that's directly above it. So be very careful if your opponent does have Chinese cards. Otherwise, this can happen to you. Yeah, it's just naturally how cutting a deck works, and why if you ever play against me in tournament, I shuffle everyone's deck. It's not for malicious reasons or anything like that. It's literally just for this exact reason. I never want to get to a point where I'm just accidentally cutting to the same spot every single time. So, yeah, there's my presentation on that. Unfortunately for us, as I can go back to having my dreaming tree and putting it back, so you don't get to see my messy background.
Someone said, send this to Dave Guskin. I would rather do this when we have more, because he's going to be like, well, that card's foil. So if I were to make a video out of this, I would wait until I had a full, like an actual commons, foils, non-commons, and then more Chinese cards than just the foil one. And I would also do it on not the potato cam. So like if you wanted to send a proposal like that, you have Chinese commons, Just go back, mix them with English ones, and do it yourself. And you'll be able to see very quickly. There's also a thickness feel different too, and that's another issue is like when you have different printers, the thickness changes, right? So like when players, like if you feel the top card of your deck or when you're shuffling, you can actually feel a difference. You can do this when you go to draw, when you go to touch them. There's just a very clearly defined difference. So this is another issue that comes up all the time in games where cards with thickness differences are not allowed, or if they're visible in your deck. Hobby leagues and Yu-Gi-Oh is a great example for those of you Yu-Gi-Oh players out there.
Isn't it true you can cut your deck after the opponent shuffles it? That's interesting. I know that was a magic rule. I
that's
didn't
a rule in
realize
a
that
lot
was
of games. It's called a back cut.
Yeah.
And it's the games that allow it only allow it if your opponent shuffles. They do not allow it if your opponent cuts you. So in most games that allow that, let's say I pick up your deck and shuffle it, you get final cut. You as the player get to do one final cut. However, if I don't like that, if I see you do that and I don't like that, I say I want your deck back. I can take your deck back and cut it again, and I get final cut because you cannot back cut a cut. You can only back cut a shuffle. That is typically the rules of back.
I was gonna say maybe you can like peel it off if you like do one of these maneuvers, and then hopefully it doesn't appear to cut to the same card. So the
question is, what's the counterplay to this? Well, it's very simple. If you look at your opponent's deck, you'll oftentimes be able to identify when a card is sticking out, and you can just point to it and be like, that card is warped. I literally had this happen in Game 2 of the finals of one of my Battle Spirits events. The opposing player was a friend and was not being malicious, but his card was warped. It was very clearly warped. I literally look at it, pull it out, and go, Judge, this card is warped. Judges take it out. They look at it and go, that is correct. We do believe this card is warped. They make him replace it. Easy fix. But it is something, if you look at their deck, like just the side of it, you can sometimes spot it and just be like, that is warped. You call a judge and you go, look, this person has a warped card in their deck. I would like them to change that out. And the judge will typically oblige this.
Yeah. I do think that it is, outside of this one specific issue, it is a good change overall to help with the card availability thing. And it's also a rule that's allowed in most other games. And I think they did this because they're changing printers anyways. So even without the Chinese card thing, eventually this is going to be an issue. I don't know if it's set 3 or set 4 that will have the new printer, but the card stock will be moving to the Chinese card stock anyways. So this is going to be a problem for as long as sets 1 and 2 and potentially 3 are legal. So just get used to, I don't know, shuffling your opponent's deck, and then if you see them going for like I got to the Kinko Monk again. Anyways, if they're going for a back cut and they do just have like a couple of specific cards that are Chinese in their deck or of a different printing, then maybe call a judge on that one.
Oh, yes. Judge shuffles are also final. So Hobophobia brings up a good point in the Twitch chat.
Yeah.
He says, in Riftbound, you can't shuffle or cut your deck once your opponent gives it back. I learned that if a judge has to shuffle a deck, the other player doesn't get a cut. Judge shuffles are final. So if you suspect your opponent is doing something sus, a judge cut is split second. It's spell speed 4. There is no responding to it. It just happened. Like, they do it, and that's it. It's fine. It's final. It resolves. So you can also ask for a judge cut. You can ask a judge to cut your deck. You can ask a judge to cut their deck. Now, if you do this every single round, the judge might... They know you're not cheating. They just think you're being annoying, and they might tell you to kick rocks. So be aware of that.
Yeah.
Use that weapon.
I think it's more so, if your opponent has Chinese cards in their deck or something like that, then, something that you might need to keep in mind.
So, moving on to the next rule. Premier Tournament switching to full Swiss cut to top 8 with higher seed getting first player choice. This is called modified play draw. You've probably heard us talk about it before. All this means is just that if you are the higher seed, whenever you and an opponent play in top 8 and top 4 and finals, etc., whoever of the two of you entered top cut at the higher seed will negate the die roll for game 1 and just get to choose first or second. So that is something that most card games have nowadays. I don't think Bandai games have it, but most other card games do. Magic has it. I don't know about Pokemon. Yu-Gi-Oh does not have it. So I think Flesh and Blood has it. And switching to full Swiss format is just they're going to probably play the correct number of rounds. So, for example, in Houston, in a 1052 tournament, I think is what they had. So if you want to know how the round structure works, it's 120 to 256 is 8 rounds, 257 to 512 9 rounds, 512 or 513 to 1024 is 10 rounds, and then so on and so we double it every time. So in these tournaments, the appropriate number of rounds, let's say it's 1,500 people, is 11. That's 11 round. That's an 11-round tournament that they're supposed to be playing. And then to reduce the amount of variance, usually most games add 2 extra rounds. So it'd be 13 rounds cut to top 8. The day 2 cutoff is now X2 or better. So you're going to play 8 rounds day 1, and then a variable number of rounds day 2, depending on how many people enter. If you are X2 or better, you go to day 2 and keep playing. If you do not, die. You are done at day 1. Pokemon does not have it. Thank you for that. I was not sure. Can I ask the judge shuffle my opponent's deck? Yeah, we did cover that. Yes, you can. So yes, so that's pretty much what that means. What this means for you, metal card hunting changes a little bit. You can't go X3 day 1 now. If someone else makes day 2, they are probably going to do better. They're just by default better than you. You only get to play 8. You only get 8 rounds instead of 9, so you get 1 less round to try to prove yourself. But if you make it to day 2, now they trim all the fat away. So now you're actually competing with that many less people. So where you would have entered X2 and they might have entered X3 had they been allowed to continue, and there's 5 rounds left, they might have been able to outpace you and get over you. They can't anymore. So it changes the way that metal cards work a little bit in that regard. Just the ability to keep playing. It's going to make making top cut a lot harder. Top 8 in a 1,500 person event, that's what they do in Magic pretty much. That's what they do in, I think Pokemon's top 16 now. Pokemon is either top 16 now and they changed the top 8, or they were top 8 and they changed top 16, I forget. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Just changed the top 8. That's a rule they just changed. Yu-Gi-Oh! Now does, they were 32 for the longest time, sometimes 64 at the really big YCSs. They just changed the top 8 a couple months ago. Most games have moved to a top 8 cut. Bandai games do a larger cut, but a lot of times if they do playoffs, it will sometimes be top 8. But yeah, top 8 is becoming, it's funny because top 8 was the standard way back when. Teams started to move to larger top cuts, and now they're moving back to a top 8 cut with extra rounds. That seems to be the industry standard nowadays. Yeah, just it's a lot harder to make top cut now. That's the biggest thing to remember is you got to be in the top 8 as opposed to top 64. So, and there's more players at these now. Pokemon went from top 8 to yeah. That's what it is. Pokemon changed it so that everybody with the same match points makes it, so nobody feels bad. So like if one X2 makes it, all of the X2s make it, right? Or if one X11 if two X11s make it, all of the X11s make it. So I like the way Pokemon does their system. Very cool. They're not doing that here, of course, but switch from primary tiebreaker from game win to opponent match win percentage. So for those of you that don't know, tiebreaker 1 in this game, unlike every other game on the planet, was the number of games you had won. So if you more 2-0s equals better, less 2-0s is worse. Getting 2-0'd is worse versus getting 1-2'd. Now they've changed it to opponent's match win, which is what every other game on the planet does. If you don't know what that is, pretty much all that means is the win percentage of all your opponents combined. So if my first round opponent, I play him, I beat him, he ends up going 4-4 on the day. He has a 50% win rate, and he gets thrown in my pool with everybody else. I have another guy's a 75%. These all get averaged together to determine my opponent's match win percentage. How this works typically is it's now better to win your earlier rounds where before it didn't matter. So, and the reason for this, I'll explain it very quickly, is if you win round 1, you are now playing against someone who's 1-0. This person has every person you beat from there on has the potential to do X1 or better, right? Because you beat them and they had no losses because you keep playing undefeateds unless you get paired down. So they have the potential, the ceiling on their breakers is X1 or better. When you lose the first round, now every opponent you play is a minimum of X1, and when you beat them, they are X2. So if you win out from there, every opponent that you beat after losing round 1, the ceiling on how well they can do, assuming that you're beating all of them, is X2, the absolute ceiling, and so on and so forth. If you lose 2 rounds, once you lose 2 rounds, now every opponent you play from there on out has to be X3 or worse when you beat them. So the later you do this, the less opponents you will have that have a lower ceiling. Whereas the later you lose, the more likely you are to have opponents who have a higher potential ceiling for win rate. And this is why, in opponent's match win percentage, the sooner you lose, the worse it is. The reason they changed this is very simple. We've talked about it before. Game wins, while your destiny is more in your own hand, the problem is it creates collusion, where the moment you hit X2, and X2 is the only thing that can top, a lot of players they saw were just talking to their opponents and going, hey, we're both dead if we don't 2-0 every single round. I'll mark it if a 2-0 if you do. And people were doing that. It was happening at Houston. It was happening at other tournaments. People were just going, hey, we're both dead. And if your opponent is also a smart enough duelist to realize what's going on, a smart enough player, they're going to be like, yeah, I want to make top cut. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, let's fucking do this. And that was happening all the way up until top cut. And so it actually, in a way, it was actually better to lose your rounds earlier here, because now at least if you lost it too early, assuming that every opponent agreed to this, and you won out all your matches, you could actually, from the start, from after 2 rounds, every round is a 2-0, whereas let's say you went 5 rounds in, you are X1 at 5 rounds in, and you won every match 2-1, and now you win X2 in your 6th round. Now you can't control every round. Every opponent you have from here on out could agree to the 2-0 plan, but now you only have 4 2-0s, or 4 2-0s in your total schedule, where if you lose in the first 2 and all 7 of your opponents agree to this, now you have 7 2-0s. So in a way, assuming that people are not doing what they're supposed to, you're benefiting to lose earlier. So people will say no. I don't want to even say they're idiots, because technically I think it is illegal to do. I'm sure there is a legal way to do it, because technically they could just say I scooped, and I don't think the judges can do anything about that. But I do agree, is the smarter thing to do. Not going to argue that, but we'll talk about some issues with the day two cut that I have in a little bit. George actually addressed these directly as well with me. He talked about some of these issues that I agree with, but I'll circle around to that. We need to get through these rules, so I'll let Colin do some talking too. No game loss for forgetting to take your chosen champ out of your deck, except at professional OPL. Second part of that is you can sleeve your chosen champ in a different sleeve. Great rule change.
That's nice.
Great rule change. I was sick of that shit. So now if the chosen champ were to go back to a hidden zone, you just remove it from the extra sleeve. Great quality of life change. Thank fucking God they did this. I was so tired of accidentally shuffling my champion in, and it rarely ever goes to a hidden zone, so unless it gets rebuked or something. So good on them for that one.
I think with how powerful going first is in this game, that makes it so the higher seed will usually just win. We also kind of saw that at Houston. I ended up being the lowest seed in top 4. Unfortunately, my deck is built a little bit to go second, but yeah. But I think that's a fundamental flaw with the game that they need to fix, rather than changing modified play draw. I think modified play draw is fine. It gives you an incentive to go through Swiss, and you have a benefit for going undefeated throughout Swiss, whereas right now it's just you're the same as the guy who just barely eked into 8th place or 16th place or whatever the cut is. So yeah, I think it's fine. I do think they need to fix play draw, but that's always been the case for me. So
switch extra turn rules to 3 turns. You need to be up by 2 points to get the win. I've already had a rant about this, a very long one, about adding the 10 minutes and how this affects this. I'm not going to get into it. It's in one of our live videos, I think, where I talk about rules changes or whatever. But sure, they added the extra 2 minutes. There's a lot of ups and downs to this. Again, this is like another 20-minute rant I'm not going to get into here. I don't think this moves the needle a whole lot. I think it helps a little. I don't think it helps a lot. You can go check out my chess clock video if you want to hear more about this in the live stream where I talk about chess clocks and rant about that. So that's already been done to death. We're not going to talk about chess clocks or any of that shit today. Formal rules for competitive best of one. They just made it so you can pre-side in best of one for your locals. Great for the local scene. Love that rule. Sudden death rules for time single elimination rounds. So this is like in Top Cut when there's time. They have a set of sudden death rules. I actually didn't look at them. Probably should look at them, but I assume they're fine. Do you know them, Colin, off the top of your head?
No, what? Sorry.
The sudden death rules for time single elimination rounds 4 and 5.
I'm assuming it's just
I said 4 and 5, but
turns are over. Whenever
just like
turns
higher
are
points.
over, it just goes to points, and then if they're tied, then it'll go to first point change. So
you have the whole turn to get Arena's Greatest and Obelisk of Power battlefield triggers. Thank fucking God. Thank the Lord and all that is holy. What a quality of life change. Like, I talked about this yesterday, but mandatory triggers, I hate that shit. Like, if you were playing this game on a client, I know we're not, but if you were, you would never miss these things. I hate to break it to you, you card game boomers, but long gone are the days of like trying to shark your opponent for like incremental wins on things that are supposed to happen. I'm glad that shit. I'm a very competitive player. I'm glad that shit died in like 10 plus years ago. Like, leave that shit in 2005 where it belongs. Like, this is not like this. I don't want to sound. This is not a political rant either, but the space needs to become more inclusive in terms of like for the rules. The rules need to be more inclusive. Like, the cutthroatness, this shit, I don't fuck with that. Like, it's one thing if we're at like Worlds or like we're playing on the Pro Tour, fine. Like, slit throats away. But like the fact that you can do this cutthroat shit at regionals where you have like 1,000 of those people are just like fucking casuals, like, I fucking hate that shit. Like, mandatory triggers should just happen. Like, I won't get into this debate because I did go over it yesterday a little bit, but I don't fuck with this, like especially when it's an effect that you are both receiving. It's like not technically my card, it's both of our cards. Like, that shit's ridiculous to me. I don't fuck with that. Like, yeah, I'm glad they fixed this. I wish they would fix it with some of the other mandatory triggers. I'm not going to be too much of a stickler, but the Battlefields one, you both control these things. Like, I talked about this example with Zon Warrens because you can forget mandatories, but then it's like, okay, sometimes it actually is beneficial for me to miss the Zon Warrens because my hand's perfect and I don't want to discard anything. So, like, now I'm just, like, missing it on purpose because it's just like, no. Mandatory triggers are supposed to happen. Make them happen. Like, make it both players' responsibility. Just give a lesser warning to the non-benefiting player. Like, the warning that takes, like, 1 billion times to upgrade, whereas, like, the player who is, like, benefiting gets a bigger warning. Like, that's what they used to do in a lot of games. Like, yes. If you win because your opponent forgot Arena's Grace and you didn't give it to them, you suck and you didn't win. I agree. Some players will disagree. I saw, like, in Top Cut, we saw Alan ZQ. He lost his match because he forgot Arena's Greatest. Now, I'll give respect to Alan here. Alan didn't get it on his turn because he said, no, remembering this is a skill, we're going to play by the rules and we're both going to remember this. And then he proceeded to forget it. But he said, you know what? I set the precedent. I said, we're going to remember this. We're not taking shortcuts on this. Die like a man. So I respect him for that. But yeah, I think that shit's horsecock. I don't play by those rules. Or rather, I don't believe in those rules. I don't play by them. I'll remind my opponent. I can't tell you how many times my opponents forgot Obelisk of Power. I tell them to get it every single time. I do not let them miss that shit. Unless I, for some reason, forget. But I don't, because I do it and then I go. I've had a few times where it's gotten to my turn and I'll get it. And I'll go, you forgot yours. Would you like to rewind? I don't give a fuck. It's not changing anything. Like, you didn't see me do anything different. I'm going to give it to them because I don't think this is how the game should be played. I don't think this is good for new players. That's the end of my rant on that. So, next up we've got
fair enough.
Change sideboards from 0 to 8 to 0 through 8. Sure, this makes no difference. Like, I'm glad, like, now players aren't getting a game loss because they only had 7 cards in their sideboard. Like, they didn't know they had to play 8. It's just a quality of life change. There's no advantage to having 7. Like, 7 is just worse than 8. Make it a variable number. Doesn't make sense to have 0 or 8. Never understood this. The sideboard rule has existed in other games where it had to be an absolute number. Never understood it. Great quality of life change. impacts very little, but still. Change deck size and limited to a minimum instead of exact. Sure, right. Why let players go up if they want to play more cards in limited? Let them do it. It's supposed to be about limited. It's mostly casual. Let them have fun. Typically, it's always best to play the minimum anyways. They're not really gaining an advantage. Like, yes, Tog. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree with most of these rule changes. Here's where we're going to get.
Yeah, I think they're all.
I'll let you talk for a sec, Colin, while I get a drink. Go ahead. Go off for a sec while I.
Yeah, I think. Sure. I like how Alex said he was going to let me talk and then just kept talking anyways earlier. That was a classic Alex moment. But yeah, these are all good rules changes. I would say that the one that is the most questionable is the modified play draw, but that's something that I personally have pushed for because I think it's important to give people a reason to want to play through Swiss and actually play the game and win. That being said, we need to fix play draw if that's going to be a thing, and hopefully this will be a push towards them actually doing that, as we'll see that the higher seeds are going to win in most tournaments because it's such a significant advantage. I think it's too big of an advantage. I agree with you, but I don't think that's an issue with modified play draw. I think that's an issue with the game of Riftbound right now, because if we're saying that the player going first is winning every time, then we aren't playing a game anymore. We're just rolling dice to see who's winning the game, right? And yeah, so we just need to fix that up. As somebody said earlier, Nanashi said, yeah, they gotta take away the draw or print better 3 and 5 cost units with no power. And on the odd curve, I agree. Riot, for some reason, have decided that 2s should be closer to 3s and 4s should be closer to 5s. And I truly do not get that sentiment. If you're at least making like Darius level power level units, like the Lucian, for example, like that's another good one, Lucian Merciless. These are units that should exist in order to help with the play draw disparity right now. And I'm hoping that or maybe even both, to be quite honest with you, especially with the amount of cards that we're seeing drawn out of decks like Miracles and such, it's just absurd. So I don't know if denying them of a single card is going to really drastically change the play draw disparity when we've seen it be as significant as it is. So yeah, we'll just have to see moving forward what they decide to do. Honestly, more so than anything with the state of the game, I hope that's something that they addressed. And I mean, there are other ways you can compensate it too, because going first and missing your 2 also feels terrible. So maybe we'll adjust the game to having a full mull. I don't think that would be a problem either. Just make like it a full mull with you being able to. If you go second, you draw. If you go first, you do not. Going second, you get an extra card and an extra rune, because it is such a significant downside. Like, it's easy. At least start there.
So I have 2 last points to make. Then I'll shut the fuck up. You guys have heard me rant enough in the last 20 minutes, so I'm gonna go through 2 more points that I want to make, and then that'll silence me. So they're both right here on screen. Let's get to number 1. This is the lesser of the one, but angle shooting. Warning. This is egregious to me, because angle shooting is pretty much cheating. And the fact that it's a warning is insane. If you know someone is angle shooting, you can prove intent, because there's no such thing as accidentally cheating. Cheating implies that there was an intent to do something illegal. There's making an illegal play by mistake, and then there's cheating. Cheating is intent. I don't believe in accidental cheating. It's cheating or not cheating. And angle shooting is a form of cheating. You are trying to gain a form of an advantage that is against the spirit of the rules, or against just the rules in general. In some cases, these examples they all give in most games would result in some sort of penalty, like a game loss. It's either unsportsmanlike, which I believe they outline here unsportsmanlike conduct and what the punishment for that is. It's either unsportsmanlike, it's just sometimes straight cheating, whatever it is. Angle shooting should be punished far more harshly. I see warning, and I think, why the fuck wouldn't everybody just angle shoot? I mean, sorry, let me rephrase. Why wouldn't every scumbag just angle shoot? So this is ridiculous to me. I think we called this out on Twitter too. Why is angle shooting a warning? So I think this needs to be a game loss. I think this is crazy to see this be a warning, especially if you can prove the intent of angle shooting. Like, it's one thing if you don't know, but when the intent is clear, angle shooting, in my mind, is a game loss. And even worse, if you're playing the card angle shooting as a one of, you should just be removed from the tournament. So that is my thoughts on angle shooting the tactic and angle shooting the card. Colin, I don't know if you have any thoughts to add there before I move on.
No, I mean, it's important to have a differential between if somebody is actively trying to cheat like that, you can't just give them a warning because you're incentivizing people to go for this. And it's 3. You can do the same action and get warned for it twice before you get a game loss after the 3rd time. So if I'm just a scumbag abusing the rules, I can see that, angle shooting is just a warning. Well, I'm going to angle shoot twice. If I get caught for angle shooting twice, which is pretty rare because it's already a cheating action. So getting caught cheating twice, I've gotten warned twice, okay, and then I stop angle shooting. So, it is... It is the unfortunate nature of things that, yeah.
So, part 2.
Angle shot is a card. Alex is making a joke.
Yeah, I'm making a bad joke. It was a bad delivery. My delivery's not great. My delivery's terrible. Whatever. I'm not. I don't know.
We'll take you to improv class.
Yeah, I'm not Dave Chappelle. Like I'm not a professional comedian. I don't know what you want. So.
Yes, angle shooting is just as bad as any other.
So the last one, and this is the second part. There's one more discussion we're going to have, but this is part 2 of part 1. So there's another part we'll talk about after, but it's not written in any rules. So this is the part. So buckle up, because this is the part where my blood pressure is going to get raised. Bribery is a match loss. What is bribery? I think you know what the fuck bribery is. Hey man, I'll give you money, cards, a whiff of my ass to scoop this game. Give them anything whatsoever. You are offering them literally anything. They out of any sort of out of game reward or incentive to end the game. This in almost every game results in a disqualification, and with reasonably, why wouldn't it? And this is not splitting. Splitting is very different. Splitting is, I believe, is legal by the rules. I have to double check. It was legal at the SCG, even in Swiss. But
it was legal. I think they said, it has to be 50-50. I don't know if that's true, but
sure. So let me tell you the new meta.
That's what they said at the SCG. I think it's
and
true.
This isn't even a scumbag. So I'll be perfectly honest. I actually don't find bribing that scummy because, and I don't participate in it. But I will tell you that I don't find bribing that scummy because it requires both players to consent to it. Yes, you are fucking other people in the tournament, so there is that to stand on. But both players have agreed to it. The other one could just scoop to one anyways. So that's a whole ethical debate I'm not going to get into. What I don't like about this though is I do not, as much as I don't find bribing scummy, I don't think it should be in card games for obvious reasons. Like I personally don't take offense to it. This is a personal opinion, but I understand that if I owned a card game, I probably would not allow bribery because it ruins the integrity of your tournament. Even if it's between 2 consenting adults, it throws the integrity out. So this is where this shit gets fucked. It's a match loss, right? Well, what happens in my it's the last round. I'm on the bubble. I just got clapped by my opponent, or maybe we had a tight game. It doesn't matter. He beats me. I'm dead for top cut. He's going to make top cut, and I go, hey, man, $2,000 to scoop to me. You already got your medal card. Like, I know you got you're the only Jackson day 2. You got your medal card, man. The most you can get is $6,000 if you win. For top 8, I give you $4,000. I'll give you $4,000. Top 8, you're only getting 1,500. You scoop to me right now, you get double that. Hell, I'll bribe you with some of my prize money. If I go further, I'll even give you extra. I'll split the prize card with you, which that part is fine, but you can't ask somebody to split. You can't ask someone to split as part of a bribe. Like, you can ask them to split, but you can't say, I'll split with you if you scoop to me. That's illegal. So here's the metagame now. Last round, I'm on the win in for top cut. I'm on the win for my medal card. I've lost now, and I just go to my opponent, hey man, I'll bribe you. He called. So 50-50. He says yes. He accepts the bribe. Great, I'm up. He calls the judge. There's no more matches. I can't get match lost. What are they going to do to me? Yes, sorry, officer. I'll take my match loss. Like, yeah. What's he going to do? Tack it on to the next regional I go to? Do I start game 1 with a round loss at the next event I play? Do they burn one of my free buys? That would be funny. Like, they take a buy away from me? What's the counterplay? Because by the letter of the law, it's a match loss. It's just a match loss. So if I'm in my last round, fuck it. I'll take the match loss. Like, I'll fire my shot. Like, worst he does is rat me out and nothing happens. So this is just a crazy oversight. Crazy oversight. Why wouldn't you do this? Why wouldn't you, especially like I said, I don't even think this is like, I don't think this is crazy scummy in my opinion to bribe. Because again, 2 people are consenting to this. I would never allow it, but I don't think it's crazy, like unethical. And I don't think it's, for most card players, I don't think it's out of their ethical realm of something they would do. Like, the barrier to cheating is so much higher than the barrier to bribing, in my opinion. Like, far more players, if you took a survey of players who found cheating scummy and bribing scummy, I would bet you the number is very large. Like, there's a very large difference. So players are now incentivized to do this. And not just in the last round, but rounds before that, because they go, well, this is my worst matchup. I'm probably going to lose anyways. I'll just fire my shot. Worst thing he does, he rats me out. And this was a 90-10 anyways. I know I can't beat fucking Rek'Sai as Victor Control, so I'll fire my shot. I'll offer him a rack. I know I get my medal card if I win. If I lost, I was going to lose anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'll just fire my shot. This is, this has to be an oversight. This has to be a joke. I don't know what this is. I do not understand why this is, but this rule has to fucking change. You can clip this and send this to Riot too. And I know they'll come back and say, well, if the judge determined that you were employing this strategy in the last round, you were trying to bribe, and we think you were doing it because you didn't think the match loss mattered, then blue blah bitty blah blah. No. None of this open for intent shit. Disqualification. You bribed. Easy fix. Done. Everybody knows you can't bribe in card games. Even if this is your first TCG, this is a simple, like, can I offer my opponent something for the win? Can you do that in literally any competitive thing ever? No, you can't. So this one is insane to me. Yeah, you can clip this one and send it to Dave because this one's crazy. This should be fixed. There's no exception. I will not hear any counter argument. There's no counterpoint to this. This is just ridiculous. There's no reason for this. Absolutely zero. This rule's ridiculous. Get rid of it. Colin, anything to add before I get to our last topic of the night?
No, it really about covers it. I think this is just a clear oversight that they didn't really think through. So hopefully it'll get fixed. I think at the end of the day, honestly, I think angle shooting should be a disqualification as well. I don't even think it should be a straight match loss. At the end of the day, if you are cheating based on the rules, and I can demonstrably prove that you are cheating and doing something that's against the rules, you should be DQ'd. None of this, like, the things that are for match losses are like deck registration errors, because you can't prove that somebody did that maliciously, right? Sometimes people will have one card off and they're just like, oh, I updated my list and I forgot to update it. So give them a game loss or whatever. Sure, that's fine. But when it's something that you can tell that someone is maliciously doing and they're trying to game the system, then yeah, they should be DQ'd. They should be penalized for it. And that's what it really comes down to. If I can prove my opponent is doing something maliciously against the rules, give them a DQ, give them a suspension. Like, they're trying to cheat the rules. That's just common sense. So
right,
yeah.
And to be clear, someone is saying I've scooped friends in tournaments with buys as prizes in exchange for packs. I don't think you're a scumbag if you bribe. Like I said, I've already covered this. If someone told me they bribed their opponent, I don't look down on this person.
The difference here is in exchange for the packs. So this is just discussing a prize split. You're not offering something that is outside of the tournament. Yeah, this is just a prize split that's a little bit different than like a traditional 50-50. But prize splits are fine because if we go into the same tournament, we're going into the finals and we want different things, then like there's no reason for us to play, and both of us potentially can get fucked if I want the win for the buy and they just want the packs or whatever. Like that's fine.
Bribing is like, I think of bribing like jaywalking. It's a law that I don't agree with. If someone told me they jaywalked, would I be like, you're scum? No. But it's a law that should probably exist. Like, is it ever, unlike bribery, it's never enforced. Well, I guess bribery in this case isn't enforced, but there are some way I feel about this with some laws where it's like, if you break this law, I don't think you're a scumbag, but I do think this law should exist. Running a stoplight. Someone tells me they run a stoplight. Am I like, this guy's a scumbag? No. If this guy tells me he's a habitual stop sign runner, then I might be like, okay, you're a little psychotic. Same thing with bribing. If I find out someone bribed every round of the tournament, I'd be like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, you are kind of I don't even know if you're a scumbag. You're just rich and ballsy, I guess, at that point. So more power to you. But it's a rule that should exist. And again, like, I don't look like if someone tells me they bribed, like, sure, I don't give a fuck. Or they scooped in exchange for something. I don't give a fuck. That's not the point of this. The point of this is it shouldn't exist. It should be a law. And it should be a law that is actually enforceable. Like, so, like, yeah. No laws should exist, yes. And I guess...
we're just in the Purge movies right now.
Yes.
Make up your rules to determine who wins.
So... And shit, even in the Purge movies, they had some laws. You couldn't use, like, grenade launchers and shit. You couldn't assassinate government officials, like... Shit, even those movies had some laws, so... I guess this will segue me to my final point. And this is a point brought to me by George G., so I won't even take credit for it. But it is a good thought. So, here's the day 2 and the middle card conundrum. With all these extended rounds. You've entered day 2. You are effectively, assumedly, everyone at X2 is alive, right? Assumedly, the way they have the bracket set up is that all X2s will make top cut. That's the point of having the extra rounds, is that if you make top 2, you're never dead, even if you enter at X2. But let's say there's 5 more rounds, day 2. I lose the first one. I'm dead now. My metal card, I'm Draven. I'm not winning my metal card. It's not possible. However, I've just queued into one of 2 Leesons in day 2. And he's fighting for his fucking life to get this Leeson metal card. And I go to him and I go, hey man, you're currently 2 matches above the other Leeson. If you beat me here, you lock it. But guess what? I'm Draven. I'm going to smoke you, bro. But let me make you a deal now. You split with me, which, by the way, you can offer, how about we take a split on your Leeson? Okay. Yo, you've taken a split? I scoop. I'd like to see you get that Leeson. I didn't offer to scoop to him. I'm not offering him a concession. I just said, how'd you like a split, bro? And your opponent, who's smart, is going to be like, I see what's going on here. Yep. And then I just scoop. I don't offer him anything. I've broken no rules. And we'll go a step further. Let's say I am just malicious. I'm just like, look, bro, I'll scoop for your... This is covered in the bribing thing. I'll scoop for your fucking Leeson. Or I'll scoop for half of your Leeson. And that guy's just like, dude, I'm going to get smoked. Yeah, of course. I'm not getting this Leeson if I don't. I might even say, bro, I only want 10% of what you win. And that guy's like, 10%? I'm blocked if I beat you. Hell yeah, take 10%. And now, next round, guess what? I played against one of 2 Renata Glass in day 2. And I'm like, hey, bro, that other Renata Glass, you guys are neck and neck. But if you beat me here, you got better breakers. Guess what? Give me a split. And you see where this is going, right? Now I'm incentivized to scoop to I'm incentivized to split with every person that comes across my path. Now I'm eliciting bribes. Now I every metal card fanatic that I come across, I'm incentivized to try to take a split with them because I'm dead. I'm Draven. I can't win anything now. I don't care about the meager dollars that I'm going to win for prize money, but I do care about a chop from everybody I play against who is in the running for a metal card. And vice versa, if I'm a metal card guy, I'm a guy going for a metal card, I'm incentivized now to offer my opponent something because, again, he's Draven. Hey, bro, you're dead. You're not getting this, Draven. Let me chop you in a bit. All right, sure. And that's going to happen to every opponent I come in. I might not even chop him in on the price card. I might just be like, hey, bro, $200 you scoop. Okay, next guy, $200 you scoop. Yep, same thing. So you've now incentivized a form of bribing, and even a form of bribing that actually can dodge the rules where you just offer a split. Now, by the rules, I believe Colin was saying it has to be a 50-50 split. I have to look into that because that's what it was at SCG, and it's probably still the same.
Yeah, that one I don't know for sure. That's what they told us at SCG, but SCG doesn't know the rules and have, as I've spoken for myself, so that's just what they said at SCG.
So
I'd be willing to believe it's the case. Just
right. So now we've gotten into this area of you've created this economy, and not everybody is devious, not everybody's plotting. Most people are they're more better-natured people than badly natured people, otherwise society wouldn't function, laws or not, right? But you have still incentivized this system of bribing, accepting bribes, splitting, and sure, you have to split 50%, but Riftbound's not checking your bank account. Riot's not checking your bank account to see if you split 50%. You just go to the guy and be like, I'll chop you in at 20%, or I'll only take a 10% chop. And the guy just goes, yes. Riot can't enforce that. There's no way to know. Like, I mean, if a judge overhears, he could be like, hey, you can't split at 10%. You got to split at 50%. Me and my opponent will go, all right, judge, we're splitting at 50-50. And then I go to the guy and say, yeah, bud, give me my 10%. I don't give a fuck. So this is another flaw to their already flawed system that is going to just create so many issues. Because normally, players who are dead, their incentive now to keep playing is just the promos based on price, based on placement, right? So everybody's fighting for that. But now you've dangled an even bigger carrot in front of them and said, you know what? Fuck the top 64 promos. You could have a cut of the gold bar, literal gold bar. You could have a cut of. Yes, it's going to be people breaking gentlemen's agreements. It's people breaking gentlemen's agreements, people having gentlemen's agreements, people giving bribes, taking bribes, accepting bribes, taking splits. And the problem here is just like we're skirting the line now where like splits are like technically not even illegal. But here's the thing, banning splits is not the point of what I'm trying to make here. The split banning will do nothing. People will just split under the table. They don't care. Judges can't enforce this. Blah, 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 blah. The company will tell you, no, our judges will be vigilant, making sure people don't split. Like, skeet. Like, that's not happening. Like, they're not even preventing people from cheating on stream. Like, you think they're catching hundreds of people trying to split? No, this ain't happening. So, what is the solution to this is what you're going to ask me next. What, okay, Alex, you've identified the problem. What is the solution? So, for the first one, it's very easy. And this goes hand in hand with the day two problem. Bribing, disqualification. Now we've cut down on the issue of like, and granted, people are still going to do it. They don't care. They'll still take bribes. They'll still try, even if it's a disqualify. But now you've scared some people. You've put the fear of God into a few people. So now those people, they're gone. They're not doing it. They're like, I'm not fucking around. Some people don't even want to offer because they don't trust their opponent not to snitch on them. So they're like, nope, I'm not risking my disqualification. So fine, you've eliminated some people. But then how do you solve the split issue, right? Because the split is legal. You can ban splits, which I don't agree with because I think splits are good for a game. They are good, especially when there's cash prizing. People don't want to risk it all. People just want to get their money and get out. A lot, especially if everyone agrees to that. Why shouldn't it? You're again consenting adults. You're consenting to doing this. Why shouldn't they be able to consent to it? Mm-hmm. It's not hurting, especially in the case of a split. Unlike bribery, it doesn't hurt anybody else in the tournament. Nobody else is being hurt by your split. I mean, Riot, the company, has to redirect some money. Their accountants work a little harder, but, like, sure. Nobody's being hurt by this. So I don't think they get rid of splits. The question is, how do they deal with this issue? And I don't know that there is a solution for problem number 2, which is the splitting, getting a chop of the prize card, and then I'm just going to scoop to you, bro. I haven't worked out a solution for that yet. But it is a problem that exists with the best of metal card leaders. And I do not know what the rectification. Maybe there isn't one. Maybe they literally can't fix this, and this is just going to be part of the culture of Riftbound. Maybe nobody will do it. Maybe I'm overstating the problem, and nobody will do this. It's not an issue. People will just say, you know what, I'm not going to participate in this nonsense. So yeah, these are thoughts I've had about the rule changes. Again, you guys can let me know what you think in the comments here if you have some final thoughts before we end this. But the bribery one's clear. It's a disqualification. There's no questions about it. Angle shooting. Multiple people have said it in both the Twitch and the YouTube chat. Angle shooting is now like an ultimate in a video game, or it's like a 2-use move. Like, well, I get one for free, so run it, right? It's a passive ability, or it's an activated ability that all players get now, is run an angle shoot where you can, right? And granted, most players won't utilize it because, like I said, there are more good people than bad people in the world. That applies to TCGs too. But the bad people, they're going to abuse it. They're going to. So I'll take some. I guess we'll take some final questions. That's the end of my rant. That you've heard enough for tonight, so we can go through some questions before we close it out here. Let's see what we got here. Is there any rule against taking a bribe? Let's read right here. Receiving an offer is not considered bribery unless entertained or accepted, but the receiving player must inform it. So yeah, so you can split, it says right here. It is not bribery when players in a single elimination portion of a tournament offering only items such as cash or with the tournament organized permission. So it seems like bribery applies to actions within the game, not just the receiving an offer is not considering bribery unless it is entertained or exerted. So by this rule 7.045, it seems like, yes, if you accept a bribe, that is illegal. But it is not illegal until you entertain it or accept it. Like, someone offering you a bribe, you've done nothing wrong until you entertain or accept it. So yes, according to this, it is illegal to accept one. It's whoever is in charge of these rules adjustments should probably rethink their life choices. Rules guide writers, yeah, no comment. So devious but genius. Going to hear so many stories when people agree to scoop split when they end up getting nothing. Yeah, I mean, you can obviously get fucked by anyone, but if you're already dead for everything anyways, might as well take a shot. And don't forget, if you're getting these things and you screw someone, your fate's kind of in their hands, because they could just go to the judge after you don't give them something and be like, this guy bribed me, and you could get banned if you care about that. It's going to end up being like a people breaking gentlemen's agreements. When TOs facilitate splits, they usually send the split money already, but they usually don't. Sure. WotC doesn't, for example. Yeah, right. In Swift, both players are equally incentivized to win. No. But if you're already dead for top cut, that's what I'm saying. If you're dead for top cut and you're dead for your metal card, you're not incentivized to win anymore because there's no prizing it. There's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You're just playing for nothing. So, like, you could argue that one incentive is you give more promos out for higher placement. That is a way to de-incentivize this, but we have not seen Riot offer that so far. So that is the only solution I could think of, is you have to give something that's so good that de-incentivizes them from wanting to take a chop of the metal card because they're live for that promo. Just turn that into a DQ. Offering the shady deal just earns the metal guy the win anyways. Sure. We want more W rants. So what are W rants? Is that win rants? I don't know what that means.
Good. It's rants that are W. Yeah, active winning.
They should fine you for bribing. This is not the NFL. Like, they can't fine me. You owe us $1,000. I will just not pay you. What are you going to do about it? Ban me? Okay, I will just not pay. Should IDs be double lost because now everyone who's X2 on day 2 is basically cooked before they even start playing the extra rounds? Typically, if they set the extra rounds up correctly, X2s will be X2-1s will even be able to make it, or like some X2s will make it. Like you'll have to see how they set up the extra rounds, but typically they should set up the extra rounds so that anybody who makes day 2 can top. That's how it should be set up, and that's usually how it's set up. If you are X2, if you can make day 2, you should be able to make top cut. Otherwise, it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous system that doesn't make sense. This is a problem Swoo had too early on, where you could make day 2, but you could not make top cut, which was just absolutely ridiculous. So, let's see. What will the most expensive card in set 2 be, excluding Owen and signatures? I couldn't tell you. That's not a like sorry,
Ezreal.
Yeah, sorry, a non-signet when you said ON, like the altered arts. Yeah, Ezreal sounds about right.
Ezreal or Axes, maybe.
Yeah, I have to look at the rarity of everything, but I imagine Ezreal's, because Ezreal's an epic, right? The draw 2/1.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ezreal probably. That sounds pretty close to true. What's called shot a rare?
Common.
Oh, common. Jesus.
Yeah.
Do you know what was up with the 45 minutes after the end of round? After round end, that one round of CCS Houston? I do not. That is a calling question. I could not tell you.
I do. Wait. Yeah. The round 2. Apparently, this was round 2 in the 1-0 bracket, and there was apparently a completely new player that had somehow won their first event. He was not only reading his own cards, but also his opponent's. And his opponent was very kind and like kind of helping them through a lot of it, just because it was like he was just a local guy that heard about it and wanted to play in a competitive event. So again, he somehow won his first event, and they went into game 2, from my understanding, and somehow I guess they didn't use life pads or something. Or I genuinely don't even know how this happened, but they apparently completely lost track of score, and neither player knew what anyone was at. Score was.
Life pads are mandatory. They are part of the rules.
Yes.
You need a life pad. It's not optional.
So they called the judge, tried to figure out what had to be done, and the answer was some sort of game reconstruction of some sort that I don't know exactly what happened, but I do know that they ended up receiving like a 15-minute game extension or time extension or something like that. So our round 2 ended up running very extra in terms of time, just because of a very, very strange ruling question. So yeah, that was it.
And so, who's in charge of the pre-riff video? Anton Billionaire will be taking care of the pre-riff video that should be out, I think, Tuesday or tomorrow or Wednesday. I don't want to give you an exact timeline, but I think it's tomorrow. Where's our Metafy plug? So. Colin, let's hear your best sales pitch. You never get to do the Metafy plug. You want to give them your best sales pitch?
For why they should sub to our Metafy? Yeah, I mean, I'll keep it nice and simple. We have an extremely active Discord that we are in constantly. That is a part of our Metafy. You get a discount on all of our guides, which are some of the best, if not just the best, that are on the internet for this game. Additionally, inside of our Discord, you can ask any of our team questions, and we'll answer them whenever needed. So you get access to some of the best players in the game, if not the best player, given my pretty consistent record. We will definitely answer and help out with all that sort of stuff. We have an active Discord. It's like impossible to keep up with things, to be honest, at this point, just because of how many people are in here talking. So beyond that, your tiers are locked in for life. We won't ever change your tiers once you've started to subscribe. At just $10 a month, you can get into the Discord and start all that stuff up. So at 25, we have the gold, which gives you access to all of our deck lists that we test with a little bit more of a guide discount. And then for 50 a month, we do VOD reviews. So if you're interested in coaching, we do VOD reviews for anyone who submits them. Usually we try to get, so far we've gotten to all of them that have been submitted. If Diamond keeps growing the way that it has, maybe it'll have to be like you'll get it done once or twice a month, depending. So yeah, just depending upon what your goals are in Riftbound, we got a tier for everybody. And I think that Discord is definitely a reason to come check it out. So.
So last question here, Ice Monkey, do you feel Miracle Silver is strong? I think I said before, I'm not a fan of the deck personally. I think Randy is an exceptional pilot. He's proven that time and time again. He's a great player. I'm not a fan. I think there are like 3 Miracle decks I would play before Sivir, personally. I'm not a fan, but I think it's clear that if you're good with your deck and you have knowledge of what you're doing, that any deck can be good. And Sivir, well, not any deck, not Garen. Garen can't be good. I don't care how good you are. You're not doing well with that deck. But and you can take that to the bank. You can clip that one for me. Sivir is good enough. I think it's like a C tier deck. Maybe it's the bottom of B tier, but it's clearly good enough that if you're good, you can make top with it. I'm not personally a fan. I've said this time and time again, but clearly it worked for Randy, so it could probably work for you too if you're good enough at it. If you just trying the deck out and play enough, you too could make top at a regional with it, and then get fucked by the judges. So, anyways, Colin, anything to add before we wrap up here?
No, I think that really about covers it. Thanks everyone for coming out. We'll definitely be doing more of these streams.
Unhinged ranting. We'll be back Wednesday, I think, with some. What are we doing? Oh, State of the Game announcement Wednesday. We'll be doing a stream covering that, probably followed by some gameplay, depending on how long I decide to rant for. We will see you guys all Wednesday at